The Last Inventory Clerk. Chapter 1, please sign for your reincarnation. Yoshi Ishido died beneath 300 pounds of motivational coffee mugs. This was unfair for several reasons. First, Yoshi had never felt motivated by a mug. Second, the mugs belonged to a company whose official slogan was, "Failure is just success wearing work boots." Third, Yoshi was not wearing work boots when shelf B7 collapsed. He was wearing cheap black sneakers, one of which came off during the incident and landed upright beside his body like it had successfully escaped. As the warehouse ceiling vanished behind an avalanche of ceramic optimism, Yoshi had time for one final thought. Inventory discrepancy resolved. Then everything went black. He woke standing in an endless white office. There were no walls, but there were cubicles, thousands of them stretched into the glowing distance. Hooded figures sat behind gray partitions, stamping forms for a line of transparent, dead people. Some cried, some prayed. One elderly woman was arguing that death had violated the cancellation policy on her cruise. A brass sign hung over the nearest desk. Department of Postmortal Allocation Window, 9,441,702B, current, wait time, eternity, plus or minus 20 minutes. Yoshi looked down. He still wore his warehouse uniform. His name badge said Yoshi, although someone had added deceased beneath it in red ink. Efficient, he muttered. The line moved. Eventually. Yoshi reached the desk. Behind it sat a skeleton in a green visor. It had 6 arms, each holding a different stamp, and the exhausted posture of something that had processed too many tragic horse accidents. Name, it asked. It's on the badge. Cause of death? Aggressive branding. 6 quills paused. The skeleton looked over the desk at him. Physical cause. Crushed by mugs. Ah! It found a form. Ceramic avalanche, a classic. That happens often. No, that is why it is a classic. The skeleton stamped 3 pages and pushed a black crystal toward him. Touch the aptitude stone. Your next world will assign a class based on your strongest demonstrated qualities. What are my options? Warrior, mage, rogue, healer, artisan, noble, monster, sacrificial chosen one. There are regional variations. Sacrificial? The title says chosen, the contract says consumable. Yoshi touched the crystal. Light flickered inside it. Images appeared above the desk. Yoshi counting pallets. Yoshi finding 12 missing toasters behind a stack of patio furniture. Yoshi correcting a manager who insisted that -7 televisions was an acceptable inventory value. Yoshi crawling into a loading bay during a fire to retrieve the only accurate shipping ledger. The crystal turned beige. The skeleton made a small, unhappy sound. What? Yoshi asked. Your strongest qualities are item identification, spatial organization, record accuracy, and persistent irritation. Persistent irritation sounds powerful. It is not a combat statistic. A notification opened in the air. Class assignment complete, primary class, inventory clerk. Rarity, common combat rating, please do not. Social standing, lower than apprentice gong polisher. Recommended equipment, ledger, ink, realistic expectations. Yoshi stared at it. No, the skeleton reached for a stamp. I reject it. Rejection is available to divine champions, premium souls, and residents of participating afterlives. And I am? Standard. The stamp descended. Yoshi caught its handle. All 6 of the skeleton's hands stopped. Do not obstruct an allocation officer. You said the class is based on demonstrated qualities. Yoshi leaned over the desk. Did the stone record that I went back into a burning warehouse? Yes. Then why am I not a warrior? You did it for a ledger. Did it record that I caught a thief? You noticed he had placed a blender in a box labeled bread maker. Still caught him. As an inventory clerk. Yoshi released the stamp. I hate this system. The skeleton's jaw tilted towards him. For the first time, its green eyelights showed something like sympathy. That may improve your survival chances. It stamped the form. Reallocation authorized, destination, Kingdom of Kest entry, condition, critical body compatibility, mostly complementary language package. Installed warning, Local gods dispute responsibility for this soul. Yoshi had just enough time to ask what mostly meant. Then the office floor opened. He fell through the universe. Yoshi returned to life face down in someone else's blood. Cold mud pressed against his cheek. Rain hammered his back. Something exploded nearby, showering him with dirt, splinters, and what he sincerely hoped was sausage. Men screamed in a language he somehow understood. The western wall is gone. Where is the mage? Inside the western wall. Yoshi lifted his head. He lay in the courtyard of a burning fortress. Stone towers rose through black smoke. Armored soldiers fought creatures shaped like starved wolves, except the wolves had human hands around their mouths and too many backward-bending legs. Blue fire crawled across the battlements. Arrows fell through it and emerged burning. A dead young man lay beside Yoshi. The dead man looked exactly like him. Not approximately. Exactly. Same narrow face, same brown eyes, same dark hair that never decided whether to lie flat or begin a rebellion. The only differences were the dead man's chain shirt, the crossbow bolt in his throat, and the general absence of breathing. Yoshi touched his own neck. No bolt. Good. A pale window appeared. Welcome to Kest's temporary body generated from local biological template status. Recently vacated. Name Yoshi Ishido. Level 1 class, inventory clerk. Health, 42 of 42. Stamina, 31 of 31. Mana, 8 of 8. Strength, 6. Agility, 7. Vitality, 7. Intelligence, 11. Perception, 13. Charisma, 5. Luck, stat concealed for legal reasons. Yoshi read it twice. Recently vacated? The corpse did not answer. Another bolt struck the mud between them. Yoshi rolled behind an overturned cart. 2 soldiers crouched there. One held his stomach closed with both hands. The other, a broad woman with half her scalp shaved and the other half braided, leveled a spear at Yoshi. Identify yourself. Yoshi. Unit? He glanced at the dead version of himself. The corpse wore a leather badge stamped with a tower and the number 7. Tower 7? Tower 7 fell an hour ago. Then my commute was terrible. Her spear tip pressed against his throat. Class? This is not going to help my situation. Class? Inventory clerk. The wounded soldier laughed so hard that part of his stomach tried to leave. The woman closed her eyes. The gods send us reinforcements, she said, and we receive a man qualified to count our corpses. In fairness, you appear understaffed. A horn sounded beyond the shattered gate. The woman's humor vanished. Third breach. She pulled the wounded man upright. Can you walk? Not enthusiastically, he whispered. Take him to the chapel, she told Yoshi. I just arrived. Then you are well rested. She pushed the wounded soldier into his arms and ran toward the gate. Yoshi staggered under the man's weight. What's your name? He asked. Tomas. Can you tell me what those things are? Gallows hounds. Of course they are. They eat fear. That seems nutritionally irresponsible. They crossed the courtyard. Every direction looked like a poor choice. The chapel's white stone doors stood open 30 yards away, but 3 gallows hounds prowled between Yoshi and safety. One tore out a soldier's hamstring. Another dragged a screaming archer into the smoke. Yoshi pulled Tomas behind a stack of supply crates. Weapons? Yoshi asked. Tomas pointed weakly to the courtyard. There were hundreds. Swords, spears, axes, and bows lay beside the people who had died holding them. Yoshi reached for the nearest sword. A red message snapped open. Warning item not assigned to your department. Unauthorized removal may result in a fine of 3 copper pieces. You cannot be serious. The nearest gallows hound turned toward his voice. Its fingers peeled away from its mouth. Inside was not a tongue. Inside was a pale child's face, silently begging for help. Yoshi grabbed the sword. Fine assessed. Outstanding balance. 3 copper. Interest rate, 400% per combat encounter. Your financial system is the real monster. The hound charged. Yoshi raised the sword. He had never used one. He had once assembled a decorative katana rack, which was not the same thing, and had ended with an urgent care visit. The hound struck him like a motorcycle made of elbows. He flew backward. His spine hit a crate. The sword vanished into the mud. Health, 29 of 42. The hound landed over him. The child's face inside its mouth began to scream. Tomas hurled a fist-sized stone. It bounced off the creature's skull. "Leave the clerk alone!" "Strong speech," Yoshi gasped. The hound turned toward Tomas. Yoshi's hand scrabbled across the crate behind him. His fingers found a metal latch. The moment he touched it, the world changed. Lines of pale gold spread across the wood. Supply crate identified department. Fortress maintenance registered contents. Hammer 2. Iron nails 140. Door hinges 6 lamp oil 4 jars. Unregistered contents. Mimic juvenile 1. Discrepancy detected. Resolve discrepancy? Yoshi stared at the final line. The crate beneath his hand trembled. Yes. The lid burst open. A red, fleshy tongue wrapped around the gallows hound's back legs and yanked. The creature hit the ground. The crate unfolded rows of wooden teeth and swallowed it to the shoulders. The hound shrieked. The crate chewed. There were sounds Yoshi would later work very hard to forget. The mimic burped out one backward bending leg. Discrepancy resolved. Unregistered asset has consumed unregistered hostile. Net discrepancy, 0. Experience gained 40. Class bonus, accurate reconciliation, plus 40 experience. "I may have found an accounting loophole," Yoshi whispered. The mimic's lid opened. 2 glossy black eyes blinked inside. "Mama?" it asked. Yoshi looked behind him. There was no one there. "No. Mama." "Absolutely not." The mimic sprouted 6 little clawed legs and scuttled toward him. Tomas, still holding his stomach, stared in horror. "It thinks you are its mother." "Thank you, Tomas. I had assembled the available evidence." The mimic rubbed its blood-smeared corner against Yoshi's knee. Companion acquired nib species. Common mimic level. Disposition. Hungry. Loyalty, 3%. Reason for loyalty. You opened the food room. Warning, companion may consume equipment, enemies, allies, architecture, or abstract concepts if sufficiently encouraged. Yoshi looked down at it. "Nib?" The mimic licked his shoe. "That is not food," and Nib swallowed the shoe. Companion loyalty increased. Loyalty, 4%. "You know what? Keep it. That shoe abandoned me once already." They reached the chapel during the 4th breach. Yoshi knew it was the 4th because the system congratulated the fortress. Achievement unlocked, consistent failure. Allow the same defensive perimeter to be breached 4 times in one day. Reward, enemies now feel confident. The chapel held nearly 80 wounded soldiers and twice as many terrified civilians. Blood covered the tiled floor. Priests moved between bodies, spending blue mana until they collapsed beside their patients. An old healer took one look at Tomas. "Against the wall." "He needs help," Yoshi said. "They all need help. He's holding his organs." "Then he is doing better than the 6 who misplaced theirs." The healer hurried away. Yoshi lowered Tomas beside a pillar. Nib followed, trying to eat discarded bandages. "Stop that!" Nib swallowed faster. Yoshi scanned the chapel. His class reacted to everything. Bandages appeared with quantities. Potion bottles glowed with ownership marks. Broken weapons listed repair requirements. Dead soldiers carried gray tags showing their names, units, equipment, and next of kin. The information crowded his vision until he nearly vomited. "Filter," he whispered, "show medical supplies." Most of the labels disappeared. 3 sealed crates glowed beneath the altar. Yoshi hurried over. Fortress Medical Reserve registered contents. Minor healing draft, 24. Clotting powder, 12 packets. Clean bandages, 60 rolls. Bone-setting splints, 20. Current ledger count, 0. Discrepancy, 116 items. Yoshi blinked. The crates were full. Someone's records said they were empty. He touched the first latch. Resolve discrepancy? Yes. The crate clicked open. Skill unlocked reconcile. Correct a documented difference between recorded inventory and physical inventory. Resolution method depends on authority, evidence, and whether reality is paying attention. He pulled out a red potion. "Healer." The old woman turned. Her expression changed when she saw the bottle. "Where did you get that?" "The emergency reserve. Empty for 3 months. Your paperwork agrees." He held up the bottle. "Reality has submitted a correction." Within minutes, the chapel became controlled chaos. The healer, whose name was Sister Elion, distributed potions while Yoshi counted every dose. She poured half a draft into Thomas's wound and made him drink the rest. Torn flesh pulled together. His breathing steadied. Yoshi received experience each time a recorded item reached a valid recipient. Experience gained, 5. Experience gained, 5. Experience gained, 5. The notifications stacked until he dismissed them. Level up Yoshi Ishido, level 2. Inventory clerk. Attribute points gained. 3 skill point gained, 1. New class feature available. Sister Ellen grabbed his wrist. More? Clotting powder, bottom crate. 12 packets. You almost said 20. There are 20 packets, but 8 are counterfeit. How can powder be counterfeit? Nib sneezed near the crate. A puff of sawdust rose. With optimism and criminal intent. The chapel doors slammed shut. A young knight stood before them, golden armor streaked with blood. He had the polished hair and beautiful, furious face of a man accustomed to statues being planned as before he died. All walking wounded to the inner keep, he announced. Captain Harl has ordered the lower fortress abandoned. Sister Elian went still. There are children here. Then carry those who may be useful. The chapel quieted. Yoshi studied him. Lord Cassian Vault. Level 18, class, Gilded Lancer. Current equipment, Sunsteel Breastplate, assigned, Moonhorse Cavalry Saber, assigned Fortress Command Signet, unassigned Emergency Escape Scroll, concealed Civilian Ration Shits, 83 concealed. Yoshi's gaze settled on the knight's belt pouch. You stole the ration shits. Every head turned. Cassian looked at him as one might look at a stain that had learned grammar. Who are you? Inventory clerk. There was a pause. Someone in the wounded crowd laughed. Cassian stepped closer. Do you know the punishment for accusing nobility? Does it involve producing the contents of your left belt pouch? The knight's hand moved toward it. That was enough. The civilians saw. Sister Elian saw. Tomas, pale but standing, saw. Cassian's face hardened. Search him, Yoshi said. You'll find 83 chits and an escape scroll. I assume the scroll only carries one person, because generosity has not made an aggressive appearance in his equipment list. Cassian drew his saber. The blade stopped under Yoshi's chin. Nib's lid opened behind the knight. Yoshi held up one hand. Nib, no. Nib, yes, said the mimic. Nib, if you eat him, the armor will give you indigestion. Cassian glanced behind him. Nib launched. The mimic clamped onto the knight's armored backside. Cassian screamed with a purity Yoshi had previously associated with opera. He spun, striking at Nib. The mimic held on, wooden legs flailing. Civilians scattered. Sister Elian snatched the saber from Cassian's loosened grip. Tomas punched him. It was not a good punch. Tomas had nearly died 10 minutes earlier. But it struck exactly where Nib had attached, which improved its strategic value. Cassian collapsed. Nib released him and spat out a golden piece of armor. Item damaged Sunsteel rear plate. Former defense bonus, 12. Current dignity bonus, negative 40. That, Yoshi said, may be the first useful message you've shown me. Sister Elian opened Cassian's pouch. Ration shits spilled across the bloody floor. The crowd's fear changed. It became anger. Cassian looked around and finally understood that rank was a fragile shield when 80 starving people stood on the other side. The fortress is lost, he said. Those supplies would have ensured the survival of command personnel. You mean you, Tomas said. I am heir to House Vault. Then your family can inventory you when this is over, Yoshi replied. An impact shook the chapel. Dust poured from the ceiling. The screaming outside stopped. Not faded. Stopped. Something enormous dragged its claws across the chapel doors. Cassian smiled through split lips. That is a grave troll. Stay if you wish. He crushed the escape scroll. Silver light wrapped around him. Yoshi saw the scroll's label just before it activated. Emergency translocation scroll. Destination. Inner keep. Capacity. 12 persons. Current registered passengers. 1 available capacity. 11. Discrepancy detected. Resolve discrepancy? Yoshi slapped his hand against Cassian's breastplate. Yes. The spell expanded. Silver threads shot across the chapel and wrapped around the 11 nearest people. Sister Elian, Tomas, 7 wounded soldiers, a little girl, and her father. Cassian's smile vanished. What did you do? Corrected your passenger manifest. They vanished. The grave troll broke through the doors a heartbeat later. Yoshi reappeared 10 feet above a banquet table. He landed in soup. Tomas landed on him. Sister Elian landed on Tomas. Nib, who had grabbed Yoshi's coat at the last moment, landed in the roast pig and declared itself king. The inner keep's command hall erupted. Officers jumped from their chairs. Guards leveled crossbows. A gray-haired commander stood at the head of the table beneath a map of the fortress. Cassian appeared last, perfectly upright, because the universe had favorites. "Arrest that man!" he shouted, pointing at Yoshi. The commander looked at the wounded, the child, the healer, and then at Cassian's missing rear armor. For what? Interfering with a noble's emergency retreat. He saved 11 people, Sister Elian said. He assaulted me with a monster. Nib raised its lid from inside the roast pig. Nib, yes. The commander pinched the bridge of his nose. I am Captain Harl. Someone explain quickly. The outer ward has perhaps 12 minutes. Yoshi climbed out of the soup. Lord Cassian stole civilian ration chits, concealed a 12-person escape scroll, and attempted to leave alone. Lies, Cassian said. Sister Elian dropped the chits onto the table. Captain Harl's eyes became very cold. Abasuam. Lord Cassian, he said, give me your command signet. You cannot remove me. My father. Your father is 600 miles away. The enemy is downstairs. Cassian's hand hovered over his sword before remembering Sister Elian still had it. He tore off the signet and threw it onto the table. Yoshi's class flared. Fortress Command Signet Owner, Crown of Kest, Assigned User. None Temporary Custodian, Nearest Qualified Administrative Specialist, Searching. Standards lowered due to emergency. Qualified Specialist found. The ring flew into Yoshi's hand. The room went silent. Cassian looked as though the system had personally urinated in his wine. Yoshi looked at Captain Harl. Is this bad? Harl stared at the ring. That signet grants access to every sealed armory, supply room, gate mechanism, and defensive ledger in Blackwake Fortress. Yoshi slipped it onto his finger. So, medium bad. A map unfolded across his vision. Blackwake Fortress Inventory Network. Status, catastrophic personnel, 312. Living, 684 dead, 91. Status unknown. Food reserves, 18 days. Water reserves, 40 days. Ammunition, 4 helm, 11 arrows, 204 crossbow bolts, 19 ballista spears. Functional defensive constructs, 0. Broken defensive constructs, 6 unregistered hostile entities inside perimeter, 407. Unregistered sovereign class hostile entities. 1 primary discrepancy, fortress ownership contested. Resolved discrepancy. Yoshi's mouth went dry. The map pulsed. Red dots flooded the lower wards. 1 enormous black symbol moved toward the inner gate. What is sovereign class? He asked. No one answered at first. Then Captain Harl said, the Hollow King. The name silenced even Nib. Harl pointed to the map on the wall. It has destroyed 3 fortresses in 6 weeks. Blackwake was supposed to delay it until the Royal Army arrived. When does the Royal Army arrive? Tomorrow. The keep shook. And the fortress lasts 12 minutes? 11 now. Yoshi studied the inventory network. Broken constructs, ammunition, oil, personnel, hostiles. He had no sword skill, no magic worth mentioning. His strongest professional talent was knowing that 12 missing toasters had not evaporated. But Blackwake was not only a fortress, it was a warehouse with murder holes. And the records were a disaster. Yoshi smiled. Captain Harl looked concerned. Why are you smiling? Because whoever managed this place was incompetent. He died this morning. Then I will keep my performance review concise. The inner armory contained enough equipment to outfit 200 soldiers. Its ledger listed 6 bent spoons. Yoshi stood in the doorway with Captain Harl, Tomas, Sister Elian, and 20 exhausted defenders. Rows of enchanted shields covered the walls. Spears filled iron racks. Barrels of alchemical resin sat beneath canvas sheets. Harl stared. We were told this room was emptied last winter. Your quartermaster was either corrupt or functionally a turnip. Quartermaster Pell was Lord Cassian's uncle. Corrupt turnip, then? Yoshi touched the command signet to the ledger plate. Reconcile. Locks snapped open throughout the armory. Experience flooded him as hidden items returned to the fortress network. Level up, level 3. Inventory clerk. Level up, level 4. Inventory clerk. Level up. Level 5. Inventory clerk. Class evolution available. Current class inventory clerk. Available specializations. Senior inventory clerk. Battlefield quartermaster. Auditor of forbidden objects. Warning, third option is not recommended by the Department of Preventable Catastrophes. Yoshi selected Battlefield Quartermaster. He wanted Auditor of Forbidden Objects with every curious, self-destructive part of his soul. That was exactly why he did not select it. Class evolved Battlefield Quartermaster. Rarity uncommon combat rating, unclear, which is an improvement. New skills, rapid distribution, mark asset emergency requisition, passive feature, supplied force allies gain minor bonuses when using equipment you have correctly assigned to them. Everyone form lines, Yoshi shouted. The soldiers hesitated. Captain Harl drew his sword. You heard the quartermaster. They moved. Yoshi assigned shields based on height and strength. Spears went to soldiers with reach. Resin bombs went to people whose hands did not shake. Every valid match gave him a small pulse of mana and sent pale gold light across the equipment. The defender straightened. Supplied force active armor effectiveness increased by 8%. Weapon handling increased by 6%. Morale improved from doomed to deeply concerned. Tomas lifted a heavy cleaver. What about me? Yoshi examined him. Tomas read level 3 cook skills. Butchery, heat judgment, improvised seasoning. You are not fighting. I can help. You were holding your intestines less than an hour ago. They are staying in now. A standard worth celebrating privately. Thomas folded his arms. Yoshi searched the shelves and found a leather case containing 12 glass vials. Alchemical ignition spices. Warning, do not inhale, ingest, exposed to flame, exposed to air, exposed to magic, shake, criticize, or store near geese. He handed Tomas the case. You know ingredients? The cook's eyes widened. Better than I know swords. Congratulations, you're artillery. Nib scuttled past, carrying a helmet in its mouth. Yoshi caught it by one rear leg. Drop it. Nib swallowed. That belonged to someone. Nib someone. The mimic's level flashed. Nib level 3, new ability, assume shape, stored shapes, supply. Crate, helmet. Nib shivered and became a helmet. It was a terrible helmet. It had teeth around the rim and 2 eyes on top. Thomas picked it up. Do I wear it? Only if your final wish is to discover whether it considers hair a snack. Nib extended a tongue. Tomas put it down. A bell rang 3 times. Inner gate contact. Captain Harl raised his shield. Positions. The defenders ran. Yoshi opened the fortress network as he followed. 6 broken defensive constructs lay in storage chambers around the keep. 4 were guardian statues. 1 was a gate golem missing its core. The last was listed only as Municipal Refuse Solution. Prototype. He selected it. Location, beneath inner courtyard. Condition, functional ledger. Condition, decommission discrepancy detected. Oh, Yoshi said. The inner gate buckled inward. That sounded like a dangerous Tomas said. I have found municipal infrastructure. The Hollow King entered Blackwake Fortress wearing the bodies of its defenders. They hung from it like robes. It stood 12 feet tall, thin as a burned tree. White bone armor covered limbs made of smoke. Where a face should have been, a black crown floated around an empty space. Dead soldiers were fused along its shoulders and back, their eyes open, their mouths whispering. Return, they said, return, return. Behind the king came dozens of gallows hounds and corpse soldiers. The dead climbed over one another through the split gate. Blackwake's remaining defenders waited in 3 ranks. Captain Harl stood at the center. Yoshi stood behind him, holding the fortress ledger and trying not to become food for a monarchy. The Hollow King lifted one hand. Every corpse on its body screamed. Fear hit the courtyard like winter water. Soldiers dropped weapons. One man fled. Another fell to his knees and began apologizing to his dead mother. Yoshi's own fear arrived differently. It was organized. His mind calmly inventoried all the ways he could die. Crushed, cut, eaten, possessed, converted into outerwear. The list expanded until a notification covered it. Mental status effect, royal dread, you are in the presence of a sovereign predator. Suggested response, kneel. Alternative response, run. Inventory clerk response, confirm whether sovereign predator has completed an asset declaration. Yoshi laughed. It came out too loud and slightly unwell. The Hollow King turned its absent face toward him. You find joy in our coming? 100 dead voices asked. No, the system made a paperwork joke. Neil, did you complete an asset declaration? Captain Harl looked back at Yoshi. What are you doing? My class has one strategy. Is it provocation? Aggressive administration. Yoshi activated Mark Asset. His mana struck the Hollow King and vanished into its darkness. For one terrible second, nothing happened. Then labels erupted across the monster. Hollow King. Classification, Sovereign Revenant level 4. Registered possessions, none. Unregistered possessions. Human corpses, 93 human souls. 93. Blackwake Fortress dead. 611 stolen crown fragment. 1. Names 704 territory claimed. Blackwake Fortress. Supporting documentation. None primary discrepancy. Everything Yoshi nearly collapsed under the information. The creature had stolen more than bodies. It carried people's names inside itself, using identity as mortar to hold its kingdom together. He could feel them. Fearful. Trapped. Furious. Those bodies don't belong to you, Yoshi said. All abandoned things belong to the Hollow. They were not abandoned. Their God did not come. The words struck the defenders harder than the dread. Some looked toward the burning chapel, some toward the sky. The Hollow King spread its arms. No king came, no army came, no God came. We came. We gathered what remained. Yoshi thought of the dead template beside him in the mud. The nameless soldiers whose equipment labels included next of kin. The people Cassian had intended to leave. He knew what abandonment looked like. It looked like a ledger altered so supplies could be stolen. It looked like a 12-person scroll carrying one noble. It looked like a dead body listed as available. You didn't gather them, he said. You stole them. The Hollow King moved. Captain Harl barely raised his shield in time. The impact drove him through 2 ranks of soldiers. Bone spikes erupted from the ground. Men screamed. Gallows hounds charged through the gaps. First rank, lock, Yoshi shouted. A signed shield slammed together. Gold light flowed across them. The hounds struck a unified wall. Spears punched through openings. Tomas hurled a vial over the defenders. It broke among the corpse soldiers. Green fire exploded. Tomas stared at the flames. That was the mild one. Reassuring. I may have seasoned it. Less reassuring. The Hollow King tore a shield from a soldier and split him from shoulder to hip. Yoshi felt the equipment assignment end. Then the soldier's label turned gray. Edrin Cole, 26, 2 daughters, owed 4 silver in hazard pay. Yoshi's fear burned away. Harl, he shouted, fall back to the center circle. The captain dragged himself upright. There is no center defense. There is now. Yoshi slammed the command signet against the courtyard ledger post. Reconcile municipal prototype. Status functional. Ledger decommissioned. The system hesitated. System authority insufficient. Emergency requisition, Yoshi said. Choose payment. Personal mana, insufficient. Personal health, 41 points required. And assigned equipment, 207 items. Class levels, in companion, 1. Nib hissed. Not the companion. He looked at the battlefield. 3 class levels would strip away most of what he had gained. 41 health would kill. The equipment was their only chance to hold. Then Yoshi noticed the wording. Assigned equipment, not destroyed. Payment did not specify destruction. It was a transfer. Pay with all assigned equipment, he said. Every weapon and shield disappeared from the defender's hands. Captain Harl stared at his empty fingers. Yoshi, working on it. That was all our equipment. I have identified the first consequence. The Hollow King advanced, stone split beneath its feet. A circular iron platform erupted from the courtyard. It was 40 feet wide and covered in rusted teeth. 6 mechanical arms unfolded around it. A furnace opened at its center, burning with blue-white flame. All 207 requisitioned items poured into the machine. The prototype woke. Municipal refuse solution. Nickname Chomper. Purpose, process unwanted matter into reusable civic resources. Design note, prototype rejected after consuming mare. Current fuel, 207 military-grade items. Operational time, 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Yoshi pointed at the Hollow King. Unwanted matter. Chomper's 6 arms seized the sovereign revenant. The Hollow King screamed through 700 mouths. The courtyard became madness. Chomper dragged. The king resisted. Stone cracked under both of them. Corpse soldiers threw themselves against the machine, clogging gears with flesh. Gallows hounds leaped onto its arms and bit metal. The unarmed defenders stumbled backward. Nib grew into the shape of a supply crate and swallowed the nearest hound. Thomas cracked another vial against Chomper's furnace. Blue flames turned gold. Was that safe? Yoshi asked. No ingredient has ever answered that question honestly. Captain Harl picked up a broken length of wood. We need weapons. Yoshi opened the fortress inventory. The requisitioned equipment remained listed. Location, municipal refuse solution. Status, assigned to processing department. It belonged to a department. His department. Yoshi grinned. Rapid distribution. The machine's furnace erupted. Molten gold lines shot across the courtyard. They struck defenders' empty hands and hardened. Swords returned changed. Shields returned edged with mechanical teeth. Spears glowed blue-white, their heads remade from compressed, enchanted steel. Processed equipment distributed. Chomper forged quality applied. Warning, some items may retain municipal hostility. Captain Harl's sword growled. He looked at Yoshi. My sword is angry. Pointed at management. The defenders charged. They hit the corpse soldiers with weapons 10 times stronger than those they had surrendered. Chomper shields bit gallows hounds. Spears punched through bone bomber's armor. Each kill sent scrap and black vapor toward the machine's furnace. Yoshi gained experience in a continuous flood. Level 6, Level 7, Level 8. The Hollow King ripped one arm from Chomper. Black smoke poured over the machine. The dead fused to this king's body reached outward and grabbed the remaining arms. Chomper's timer fell below 2 minutes. It's breaking free, Harl shouted. Yoshi knew the machine could process unwanted matter, but the Hollow King was not simply matter. It was 700 stolen names tied to a crown fragment. As long as those people remained registered as his possessions, it would rebuild. Yoshi activated Reconcile. The discrepancy filled his mind. Human corpses, 93. Human souls, 93. Black Wake dead, 6111. Names, 704. He reached for the names. The Hollow King felt him. Its absent face turned. Clerk, it whispered. Bone spikes crossed the courtyard. One pierced Yoshi below the ribs. Pain erased the world. He looked down at a black spear protruding from his stomach. Health, 9 of 66 as severe bleeding. Foreign sovereignty entering bloodstream. Suggested treatment. Acquire different bloodstream. Yoshi fell to one knee. Nib screamed, not a monster sound, not a hungry sound. It screamed his name. The mimic launched itself at the Hollow King, expanding in midair. It became a huge iron helmet and clamped over the creature's crown. Yoshi! Thomas ran toward him. Stay back! You've been stabbed. Excellent ingredient judgment. Yoshi gripped the bone spear. Cold spread through his hands. Voices whispered from inside it. Return, rest, be gathered. He thought of the post-mortal office, the forms, the recently vacated body. A system that treated human beings like entries moving between departments. The Hollow King was not an exception to the world. It was the logical conclusion. If everything could be owned, then someone would eventually try to own everyone. Yoshi stood. The spear tore deeper. Health, 5 of 66. You're right, he told the Hollow King. The battle slowed around his voice. No god came. No king came. Nobody came for these people. The creature stopped struggling. At last, the dead whispered, so they came for each other. Yoshi opened the fortress personnel ledger. Every dead name glowed gray. He selected Edrin Cole. Status, deceased assignment, Blackwake Defender. Current holder of name, Hollow King. He selected all of them. Emergency requisition, Yoshi whispered. Target, names of Blackwake dead. Current department, Hollow Sovereignty, requested department. Blackwake Memorial Ledger. Authority contested. Payment required. Yoshi had almost nothing left. Then Tomas placed one hand on his shoulder. Captain Harl placed another. Sister Elian came through the fighting and pressed both blood-covered palms against his back. The system changed. Collective payment available. Living defenders may surrender experience, memories, or remaining lifespan. Experience, Yoshi said immediately. He would not spend their lives. The request spread across the courtyard. Every living defender saw it. Contribute to emergency requisition. Purpose, return stolen names of Blackwake dead. Cost, 10% current level experience. Participation, voluntary captain, Harl accepted. Tomas accepted. Sister Elian accepted. One by one, gold lights appeared among the defenders. Some refused. Yoshi did not judge them. Most accepted. The gold lights joined above the courtyard and crashed into the Hollow King. Its stolen bodies arched. Names poured out. Not letters, not sounds, lives. Edrin laughing as his younger daughter cheated at cards. Mara Kestrel standing on a roof during her first snowfall. Old Bren cursing the fortress stairs every morning for 32 years. Hundreds of brief, brilliant human truths tore free of the darkness and entered the memorial ledger. The Hollow King shrank. Its bone armor split. Nib tightened around its crown. Mine, the king roared. Yoshi held up the ledger. Documentation says otherwise. Chomper pulled. The sovereign revenant fell into the furnace. The explosion removed every window in the inner keep. Blue-white fire climbed 1,000 feet into the storm. For one breath, the clouds formed the faces of Blackwake's dead. Then rain carried them away. The bone spear inside Yoshi dissolved. He collapsed. The final thing he heard was the system. Major discrepancy resolved. Fortress ownership confirmed. Owner, Crown of Kest, custodians. The living experience awarded. Achievement unlocked. Middle management has killed a king. Reward. One chair with adequate lower back support. Yoshi woke beneath a clean blanket. For several seconds, he believed the fantasy world had been a dying hallucination. Then his pillow bit his ear. Nib. The pillow released him. Two black eyes opened in the fabric. Mama. We have discussed this. Papa? Somehow worse. Nib transformed back into a small wooden chest and settled beside him. Yoshi lay in the inner keep's infirmary. Morning sunlight entered through windows that no longer contained glass. Soldiers slept on nearby cots. Sister Elian snored in a chair, one hand still wrapped around a potion bottle. Tomas sat at the foot of Yoshi's bed peeling an apple. You lived, the cook said. I noticed. Sister Elian says you had 1 health point. I was saving it. Tomas handed him an apple slice. Yoshi examined it. Apple, mostly. Contaminants, knife oil, thumbprint, mimic saliva. He put it down. How long? 2 days. Yoshi sat up too quickly. Pain pulled across his stomach. A silver scar marked where the spear had entered. The army? Arrived yesterday. They were very impressed we still owned the fortress. Low standard. They inspected Chomper. And? It ate a royal assessor. Yoshi closed his eyes. Alive? Mostly? That word is becoming a problem. Captain Harl entered carrying a folded black coat. His left arm rested in a sling. The growling sword hung at his waist. It growled at Yoshi. It likes you, Harl said. I would hate to meet its enemies. You did. It processed them. Harl set the coat on the bed. Silver thread formed a tower over the heart. Beneath it was a small open ledger. The royal commander wants to meet you. Am I under arrest? Possibly after the meeting. Comforting. Lord Cashin claims you stole his signet, assaulted him, endangered noble property, misused a municipal artifact. and practiced unauthorized corpse administration. I did at least 3 of those. He also claims the victory belongs to him. Yoshi looked at Harl. The captain's face did not change, but the angry sword growled louder. How? Yoshi asked. He says his strategic withdrawal brought you to the command hall, allowing his family signet to activate your class. That is impressively shameless. House Vault has survived 6 kings. Shame is heavy, so they travel without it. Yoshi picked up the coat. Blackwake Quartermaster's coat. Rarity, rare. Defense, 18. Storage slots, 40. Special effect, chain of custody. Items willingly entrusted to you cannot be stolen without generating a retrievable ownership trail. Special effect, appropriate attire. People are 12% more likely to assume you belong in restricted areas if you carry paper and look annoyed. This is mine? The garrison voted. Yoshi looked around the infirmary. Several supposedly sleeping soldiers watched him through half-closed eyes. I'm not a soldier, we noticed. I have been in this world for 3 days. We noticed that too. I don't know your laws, politics, religion, geography, or currency. Tomas raised one finger. You owe 12 copper on the sword you borrowed. Yoshi stared at him. Interest, Tomas explained. The sword was lost during a sovereign incursion. The fine office is apparently indifferent. Yoshi opened his notifications. His status had changed. Yoshi Ishido. Level 10 Battlefield Quartermaster. Health, 84. Stamina, 63. Mana, 48. Strength, 9. Agility, 9. Vitality, 14. Intelligence, 17. Perception, 18. Charisma, 7. Luck, under investigation. Titles, King Recycler. Mother of Mimics. Disputed acting, Custodian of Blackwake. Outstanding debts, weapon fine, 12 copper post-mortal, processing fee, 1 soul credit, ceramic disposal fee, pending. They followed me across worlds for the mugs. What mugs? Harl asked. My oldest enemies. Yoshi put on the coat. It fit perfectly. The storage pockets unfolded in his awareness. A dark, organized space waiting for supplies. The fortress network opened with it. He felt every arrow bundle, ration crate, and damaged hinge inside Blackwake. He also felt something new. Far beneath the fortress, below Chomper's chamber, an item pulsed. Unregistered object classification, forbidden ownership. Contested by 7 gods, 3 dead empires, and 1 entity identified only as the customer. Storage duration, 9,114 years. Collection status, overdue. The object noticed him looking. For the first time, an inventory label looked back. Hello, Yoshi Ishido. We have been waiting for a clerk. Yoshi closed the network. Tomas watched him. What happened? Nothing. You have the expression you made before activating the mayor eating machine. I found something in storage. Dangerous? 7 gods disagree about who owns it. Tomas slowly set down the apple. Nib opened its lid. Eat? No, Yoshi and Tomas said together. Captain Harl sighed. The royal commander is waiting. Yoshi swung his legs from the bed. Pain stabbed his stomach, but he stood. Outside, hammers rang across Blackwake. Survivors repaired walls beside the soldiers who had arrived too late. Funeral cloths covered the courtyard. Names had been written on each one. Not numbers. Names. Yoshi touched the ledger embroidered on his coat. He had been given a useless class. The people who decided that had misunderstood what inventory meant. Inventory was not stuff. It was food during a siege. Medicine beside a dying man. A shield placed in frightened hands. A stolen name returned to the dead. It was knowing what existed, where it belonged, and who had tried to take it. In a world where kings stole bodies and nobles stole escape routes, that knowledge was not useless. It was dangerous. Yoshi fastened the coat. Nib scuttled at his heel. Tomas collected his alchemical spices. Captain Harl opened the infirmary door. A corridor full of royal guards waited outside. At their center stood a woman in white armor holding a sealed execution order. She looked from Yoshi to the mimic and then to the growling sword. Yoshi Ishido, unfortunately. By authority of Queen Sara of Kest, you are charged with unlawful seizure of a royal fortress, destruction of sovereign remains, impersonation of a military officer, and theft of property belonging to the gods. Yoshi glanced at Harl. You said possibly arrested. I was being optimistic. The woman broke the seal. The parchment unfolded. However, she continued, the Crown is willing to suspend your execution if you accept immediate royal employment. Doing what? Her gaze moved toward the floor, toward the forbidden object buried beneath Blackwake. There is a locked warehouse under the kingdom, she said. Every war, monster outbreak, and divine disaster of the last 1,000 years began with something escaping from it. Nib bounced excitedly. Eat warehouse. The commander stared at the mimic. Yoshi rubbed his face. Please ignore my son. Nib froze. Tomas grinned. Yoshi realized what he had said. Companion loyalty increased loyalty, 31%. New relationship registered. Papa. This designation cannot be removed without approval from both parties or a licensed family necromancer. I hate this system, Yoshi said. Deep beneath the fortress, the forbidden object laughed. The royal commander extended the execution order in one hand and an employment contract in the other. Will you take the job? Yoshi looked at the guards. He looked at the rebuilt walls. He looked at Nib, who was attempting to eat the corner of his death warrant. Then Yoshi took the contract. Before I sign, he said, I want to see the warehouse ledger. The commander smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of someone who had finally found another person to blame. Quartermaster, she said, that is the problem. What problem? The warehouse contains 9,000 years of forbidden objects. She released the contract, and according to the ledger, it is empty. End of Chapter 1. The last inventory clerk, Chapter 2. The empty warehouse. The execution order tasted like cinnamon. Yoshi knew this because Nib had eaten half of it and then licked his face. Stop helping, Yoshi said. The mimic sat on his shoulder in the shape of a small wooden lunchbox. Its tongue disappeared between rows of tiny teeth. Nib saved Papa. You ate the evidence that I'm supposed to be executed. Save. Yoshi considered the argument. Accidentally competent. I respect that. The royal commander led them down a spiral staircase beneath Blackwake Fortress. She had introduced herself as Commander Lyra Vale, level 34 royal warden, and had refused to answer when Yoshi asked whether all royal job interviews involved execution orders. Tomas followed with his alchemical spice case. Captain Harl remained above to supervise repairs, although his growling sword had tried to follow Yoshi. Harl had dragged it away like an angry dog. The stairs ended before a circular door of black metal. 7 locks surrounded its center. Each bore the symbol of a different god. 3 symbols had been scratched out. One was bleeding. That seems unhealthy, Yoshi said. Do not touch the divine seals, Lyra warned. Nib extended its tongue. That includes your furniture. Nib withdrew it with visible disappointment. Lyra pressed the royal signet against the door. The locks opened one by one. On the 6th, something knocked from the other side. On the 7th, it whispered Yoshi's name. Tomas stopped smiling. The door rolled aside. Beyond it stretched a warehouse large enough to hold a city. Iron walkways crossed an endless darkness. Shelves rose hundreds of feet, vanishing into violet mist. Chains hung between them. Most had been broken. Every shelf was empty. Yoshi's class disagreed. Labels flooded his vision. Forbidden storage network. Registered objects, 0. Physical objects, 9,002. Active objects, 8,771. Sleeping objects, 230. Object pretending to be a shelf, 1. Missing objects, primary discrepancy. Inventory has removed itself from inventory. 9,002, Yoshi whispered. Lyra looked at him. What? The warehouse isn't empty. I can see that it is. That's apparently what the inventory wants you to see. Something moved behind her. A shelf leaned closer. Yoshi pointed. That one is pretending to be furniture. Lyra drew her sword. The shelf unfolded. 20 iron legs struck the floor. Hundreds of empty compartments opened like mouths. A brass label swung from its neck. Isel Warden, 19 level 26 administrative predator. Status, on break for 4,113 years. Current mood, hostile toward customers. Finally, Yoshi said, a retail employee. The warden charged. Lyra met it head-on, her white sword carved through 3 iron legs. The creature spun, smashing her across the walkway. Thomas hurled a vial. Yoshi caught his wrist. We're inside a warehouse. Good point. Also, the floor is labeled extremely flammable. Better point. Nib launched from Yoshi's shoulder and clamped onto the warden's brass label. The creature shrieked. Unauthorized removal of identification tag. Asset integrity compromised. Yoshi activated mark asset. The warden's compartments lit up. Unregistered contents. Prison keys, Fort H. Human teeth, 6,204. Employee complaints, 91. Emergency shutdown lever, 1. The lever sat inside its central mouth. Of course it did. Lyra Britura, Yoshi shouted. Open the center compartment. She drove her shoulder into the monster and forced its largest mouth apart. Rows of metal teeth snapped inches from her face. Yoshi ran. This was a poor decision, but every better decision required combat skills. He jumped, shoved one arm between the teeth, and grabbed the red lever. The mouth closed. Nib wedged itself between the metal jaws. Papa! Yoshi pulled. The warden collapsed so quickly that Lyra nearly went down with it. Experience gained. 320 discrepancy detected. 40 prison keys lack assigned locks. Resolve discrepancy. Yoshi stared into the warehouse. 40 doors appeared in the darkness. They had been invisible seconds earlier. 39 stood open. 1 remained closed. Something enormous breathed behind it. Lyra's face lost all color. Those cells held the kingdom's worst disasters. Past tense noted. Alarms began ringing throughout the warehouse. System emergency inventory. Clerk access has revealed an unauthorized mass withdrawal. Items removed, 8,771. Withdrawal date, tomorrow. Authorized recipient, Yoshi Ishido. Yoshi read the message twice. I haven't taken anything. Not yet, Lyra said. The final locked door opened 1 inch. A golden eye filled the gap. The customer has arrived early. Nib climbed back onto Yoshi's shoulder. Eat customer? Yoshi watched claws longer than siege towers curl around the door. For once, he whispered, I admire your ambition. The door exploded outward. Lyra tackled Yoshi and Tomas as a golden claw swept across the walkway. It crushed Aisle Warden 19 into something the size of a serving tray. Nib bit through Yoshi's coat and clung to his shoulder. Release me. Families stay together. You are using love as an excuse for property damage. Darkness unfolded through the broken door in precise squares. A towering figure entered sideways because that was the only way it fit. It wore a black suit over a body made of locked golden doors. Hundreds of arms extended from its sleeves, each carrying a receipt. Its head was a brass sphere with a single keyhole where a face should have been. When it spoke, Yoshi heard the scanner from his old warehouse. Beep. Yoshi Ishido, your order is ready. A scroll unrolled from one hand, crossed the floor, and vanished into the darkness. I did not order anything. The signature is yours. The bottom of the scroll rose before him. Written in dried blood was his name, complete with the irritated downward stroke he used whenever paperwork became personal. Delivery agreement. Items. All contents of the forbidden storage network. Delivery date. 1 day before agreement. Price. Kingdom of Kest, including fixtures. Purchaser. The customer authorized. Agent. Yoshi Ishido. Temporal verification. Valid cancellation policy. Agent must die before signing. Yoshi pointed at the final line. I already died. Wrong death. Lyra raised her sword. By command of Queen Sarah, this warehouse is sealed. The customer turned its receipts toward her. The crown is included in the purchase. The crown disputes the sale. Disputes are processed in the order received. Current delay is 712 years. I understand why you and the system get along, Yoshi said. The customer extended one receipt. Sign for receipt of your refusal. That sentence is a trap. Correct. Nib launched at the paper. A golden hand caught the mimic and moved it toward a door opening in the customer's chest. Beyond waited endless shelves stacked with screaming boxes. Yoshi activated mark asset. Target. Nib. Classification. Companion. Assigned to department. Yoshi by Ishido's immediate family. Designation disputed but emotionally binding. Unauthorized transfer detected. Chain of custody burned through Yoshi's coat. A golden line snapped tight. Nib flew back into his arms. Companion recovered. Loyalty increased to 38%. Reason: Papa fought retail. The customer's hand stopped. Chain of custody was discontinued. I found it in storage. Return it. Do you have a receipt? Tomas leaned toward Lyra. Was that clever? It was suicidal. Every golden door in the customer's body opened. The screams inside shook the shelves. Run, Lyra said. They ran. The warehouse rearranged itself behind them. Shelves slammed together. Walkways folded into walls. The customer entered one door and stepped out of another hundreds of feet closer. Yoshi followed the only gold route in his network. Left. Thomas turned right. Yoshi caught his coat before he entered a stairwell labeled temporary gravity storage. I thought you said right. Most wrong directions have screaming. A receipt struck the walkway and sliced through iron. Lyra shoved them into an aisle labeled returned heroic equipment. Thousands of weapons waited inside glass cases. Dragon slaying spear return. Reason: Dragon disagreed. Boots of boundless leaping. Return reason: Boundless does not mean steerable. Crown of perfect judgment. Return reason: Original wearer purchased boots listed above. Thomas reached for a flaming cleaver. Yoshi slapped his hand. Do not browse during an emergency. It says cook of the apocalypse. It also says previous owners, 0 survivors. They could have retired. Into graves. The customer stepped from a door behind them. Lyra drove her sword into the floor. White fire rose into a wall of crown-shaped runes. The customer struck it. Blood ran from Lyra's nose. Yoshi found a small case glowing at the back. Unremarkable office stapler. Rarity, common. Property. Joins things that should remain together. Potential victims, philosophically unlimited. He broke the glass and aimed at the failing barrier. Ka-chunk. A steel staple pinned a shattered rune together. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk. The barrier stabilized. You are fighting a sovereign with office supplies, Tomas said. This is the first realistic part of my employment history. Yoshi assigned the Spear of Last Dawn and Widow's Shield to Lyra. He assigned the Flaming Cleaver to Tomas. Rapid distribution shattered their cases. Lyra caught the spear and shield. Tomas caught the Cook of the Apocalypse. It whispered recipes involving human despair. Tomas frowned. Too much salt. The cleaver went silent. The barrier exploded. Lyra charged. Her spear filled the customer's doors with sunrise. Tomas swung, sending green fire through 30 golden hands. Nib leaped from Yoshi's arms. Eat receipt! It swallowed the agreement. The customer froze. Delivery agreement transferred new authorized agent. Nib price, Kingdom of Kest, including fixtures. Nib by Kingdom, the mimic announced. Nib owns no money. Credit? Absolutely not. The customer bowed. The agreement completes when the authorized agent reaches maturity. A black timer appeared over Nib. Time until maturity, 11 hours, 52 minutes. Mimics grow quickly, Tomas said. I have identified the second consequence. The customer stepped backward through its chest door. Tomorrow the kingdom will be collected. Every weapon case shattered. Warehouse lockdown initiated. Reason: customer complaint. Internal cleansing begins in 60 minutes. Unregistered life will be converted to packing material. Nib looked up. Papa angry? Papa is preparing a detailed response. They had 52 minutes left when Lyra stopped trying to kill Nib. Destroying the mimic would not void the agreement. It would transfer responsibility to its legal guardian. Registered parent, Yoshi Ishido. Lyra lowered her spear. You called it your son during a stressful interaction. Nib hid behind Tomas. The cook patted its lid. I will be your fun uncle. New family relationship requested. Yoshi dismissed it. Nobody expands the family until we survive. Before they could move, someone knocked from inside a sealed crate beside the walkway. Help! A familiar voice called. I am a royal officer. Yoshi examined the crate. Unwanted noble property. Registered contents. Ceremonial banners. 6 unregistered contents. Lord Cassian. Vault when smuggled food, 14 meals. Emergency escape scroll. 1 personal courage. Quantity unavailable. Yoshi closed his eyes. We can leave it. Lyra looked at the crate. Who is inside? A strong argument for selective rescue. Cassian struck the lid again. Open this immediately. Nib's mouth widened. Snack noble? No eating people, Yoshi said. Rule new. The rule has existed since I met you. Nib no remember. Lyra cut the lock. Cassian climbed out wearing fresh gold armor and carrying a travel bag. He looked from the forbidden weapons to the collapsing warehouse. I had the situation under control. From inside a box, Thomas asked. It was a strategic observation chamber. Yoshi took the escape scroll from Cassian's belt. You stole another one. Confiscated. From whom? Someone who no longer required it. The scroll's ownership label named a wounded royal courier currently recovering upstairs. Yoshi marked it and returned it through rapid distribution. The scroll vanished. Cassian reached for his empty belt. That was mine. Documentation says otherwise. You cannot rob a noble. I am not robbing you. I am correcting you. Lyra stepped between them. Why did you enter the warehouse? Cassian's gaze shifted. I followed you to ensure royal property remains secure. Yoshi's class highlighted a black object beneath the noble's breastplate. Forbidden object 4 through 201. The coward's heart effect. Wearer may transfer personal danger to nearby subordinates. Current stored danger, fatal, 19 instances. Current assigned to recipients, everyone present except Lord Cassian. Yoshi felt a cold pressure settle across his spine. The warehouse was not the only source of the danger around Cassian. Every arrow, curse, and monster that should have killed him had been quietly passed to someone else. Take off your armor, Yoshi said. Cassian drew a dagger. I will not be humiliated again. There is a forbidden object inside your breastplate. Lyra's spear rose. Cassian stepped backward. A family relic. It transfers your danger to other people. Tomas looked down at his newly healed stomach. Was he near the chapel when I was wounded? Cassian said nothing. That silence was enough. Tomas moved first. He struck Cassian with the flat of the apocalypse cleaver. Gold armor rang. Cassian flew into the crate and folded over its edge. That, Tomas said, was for my intestines. Reasonable, Yoshi said. Cassian tried to stand. Nib sat on him. Strategic observation chair. Yoshi opened the breastplate and removed a small heart carved from black glass. 19 red threads connected it to people throughout Blackwake. Some threads ended at the dead. He selected them all. Reconcile danger assignments. Consent records? None found. Return to owner. The threads reversed. Cassian screamed. Old wounds appeared across his body. An arrow scar opened on his thigh. Burns spread over one arm. His ribs cracked beneath injuries that had killed other people in his place. Yoshi stopped the transfer before it became fatal. The system objected. Discrepancy partially resolved. Unreturned danger remains. 6 fatal instances. Why stop? Lyra asked. Because correction is not execution. Cassian coughed blood beneath Nib. His hatred remained, but something unfamiliar had entered it. Fear. Real fear. His own fear. They told me it was a guardian relic, he whispered. Who? My father. He said House Vault survives because our burdens are shared. Tomas looked toward the red threads ending at the fortress dead. Your family has an unusual definition of sharing. Yoshi marked the coward's heart as evidence and stored it inside his coat. Chain of custody wrapped it in gold. The object pulsed against his inventory. For one instant, it tried to assign Yoshi's approaching death to Nib. He locked it behind 12 storage partitions. We take Cassian with us, Lyra said. Why? Why? Yoshi asked. Because leaving him here would be an execution. Yoshi nodded. He hated when principals became inconvenient. The 5 of them entered the Department of Misplaced Persons with 46 minutes remaining. Human-shaped shadows filled glass bottles along the walls. Names had been scratched into some. Others were blank. Cassian limped between Tomas and Lyra. Nib rode on his head as a helmet, supposedly to keep him from escaping. Its tongue is in my ear, Cassian said. Security feature, Nib replied. The central counter contained a silver bell. Yoshi rang it. A woman rose from beneath the counter. She had no face. A paper claim ticket had been pinned where her features should be. Number? She asked. We don't have one. Then you are not missing. We're looking for central administration. That department is missing. Do they have a number? The faceless woman leaned closer. Clever people are stored in jars. Nib whispered into Cassian's ear, Papa Clever. I am reconsidering the value of rescue, Yoshi said. The clerk slid 5 claim forms across the counter. Declare one thing each of you has lost. The department will determine whether you deserve directions. Lyra wrote first, my brother. Tomas wrote, my certainty that food cannot talk. Cassian stared at his form. Eventually he wrote, my father's approval. Nib ate its form. Lost paper. The faceless woman accepted that. Yoshi looked at his blank page. He had lost his world, his body, his one rebellious shoe. But those answers felt too simple. He wrote, the belief that records tell the truth. The clerk collected the forms. The bottles along the walls began whispering. Lyra heard a young man asking why she had chosen duty over him. Tomas heard every animal he had ever cooked offering culinary criticism. Cassian heard his father calling him weak. Yoshi heard his old manager. Shelf B7 was with his safety tolerance. Yoshi turned toward a bottle containing the outline of a short man in a necktie. It held 300 pounds over capacity. The spreadsheet said otherwise. The spreadsheet also said we own -7 televisions. You always had an attitude problem. The shadow became clearer. It was not truly his manager. It was a memory shaped into bait, but the old anger felt real. You died because you refused to let a discrepancy go, the bottle whispered. No, I died because management bought cheap shelving. And now you are doing the same thing, counting while better people decide. Yoshi touched the glass. His class opened the memories label. False loss. Claimant never possessed manager's respect. Discrepancy. Cannot lose what was never provided. Yoshi laughed. The bottle cracked. Resolve discrepancy. The false memory vanished. Around him, the others remained trapped. Lyra reached toward the bottle holding her brother. Yoshi saw the claim ticket tied to it, memory of brother. Status. Authentic ownership. Lyra Vale Department, attempting unauthorized retention. Yoshi marked it and used rapid distribution. The memory flew from the bottle into Lyra's chest. She gasped. The glass shattered. Yoshi returned Tomas's confidence. He returned Cassian's childhood memory of a father who had once lifted him onto a horse and said he was proud. Cassian fell to his knees. That never happened, he whispered. It is authentic, Yoshi said. He told me I imagined it. The coward's heart pulsed inside Yoshi's coat. House Vault did not merely transfer danger. It altered records of who had paid the price. The faceless clerk slammed both palms onto the counter. Returned property requires processing fees. The glass bottles burst. Hundreds of shadows filled the department. They rushed toward the group, desperate for bodies. Lyra planted the widow's shield. Behind me! The shadows struck. Each impact forced a lost memory into her. Other people's funerals. Forgotten children. Soldiers whose families never learned where they died. She screamed but held. Tomas opened his spice case. I have salt. Will salt stop ghosts? Cassian asked. It stops most things if thrown hard enough. He mixed silver powder with lamp oil and flung it over the shield. Blue fire drew a circle around them. Yoshi scanned the bottles. These people were not inventory. The department had stolen their claim tickets, preventing their souls from being returned. The tickets formed the faceless clerk's skin. Nib, Yoshi said. Eat the paperwork. The mimic leaped from Cassian's head. Best day! It landed on the clerk's back and swallowed claim tickets by the mouthful. With every ticket removed, a feature appeared on her face. First eyes, then a nose, then a screaming mouth. Those are departmental records. Your retention policy is predatory, Yoshi said. The clerk stretched into a tower of paper limbs. Lyra threw her spear through its chest. Thomas ignited it. Cassian, weaponless, grabbed the silver bell and struck the creature across its newly recovered face. The bell rang. Every lost soul stopped. A direction appeared over each one. Home, family, grave. Next life. The shadows departed through the walls like a silent river. The department collapsed around them. Experience gained. 840. Achievement unlocked. Lost and found and released. Reward, one claim ticket redeemable for a thing you genuinely lost. Yoshi stored the ticket without using it. He knew what he wanted. He did not yet know whether getting it back would be kind. 33 minutes remained when they reached the sorting floor. Conveyor belts crossed a chamber wider than Blackwake's courtyard. Boxes moved along them towards 6 enormous chutes. Safe, dangerous, divine, edible, probably edible. Ask someone else. The final chute overflowed. Mechanical arms descended from the ceiling and seized anything without a readable label. One grabbed Cassian. Unclassified decorative noble, the system announced. Release me. Suggested department, ask someone else. The arm threw him onto a conveyor. Nib chased him, laughing. Again! Yoshi marked Cassian and redistributed him to their group. The noble vanished from the belt and appeared upside down in Tomas's arms. Put me down. Tomas dropped him. Poor phrasing, Yoshi said. The sorting machinery activated around them. White beams scanned Lyra. Classification: dangerous, divine, probably edible. 3 arms fought over her. She cut through the first. The second grabbed her shield. The third seized her armor and pulled in the opposite direction. Yoshi saw a forbidden label flicker beneath the white metal. Object identity concealed. He tried mark asset. Access denied by divine authority. That was new. Lyra, where did you get the armor? Royal Armory. Every commander of my order has worn it. Does it ever come off? Not without permission. Whose? Lyra stopped fighting for half a second. I don't know. The armor tightened around her. Yoshi stapled the 3 sorting arms together. Lyra dropped free. Ka-chunk. Charges remaining. 3. The stapler was running low. Behind them, the customer opened a door on the far wall. It could not enter completely, but thousands of receipts poured through. Collection reminder, they chanted. Collection reminder. The paper swarm filled the chamber. Move, Yoshi shouted. They jumped onto a conveyor belt. The receipts followed. Tomas hurled blue flame, but burning receipts kept flying. Lyra's shield blocked a wall of paper sharp enough to cut stone. Cassian crawled behind her. Do something, Clerk. Yoshi read the belt's label. Current destination, dangerous contents. 5 people, 1 mimic, 1 crown curse doll, 3 forbidden weapons, 1 disputed noble, sorting, accuracy, 83%. He changed their assignment. Rapid distribution, destination, edible. The belt swerved. Why edible? Tomas yelled. Nib is hungry. The conveyor dumped them into a chamber full of teeth. The receipts followed. Nib expanded into a giant chest and opened its mouth. Buffet, the mimic inhaled. Thousands of collection notices vanished between its teeth. Nib swelled with every page, becoming rounder and more legally authoritative. New ability progress. Fine print, 74%. The customer withdrew its remaining receipts. Nib burped. Kingdom payment due. Terms and conditions apply. Void where prohibited. Yoshi stared at it. You sound like a lawyer. Nib gasped in horror. The edible chute opened beneath them. They fell into darkness. They landed in a pantry. At least, it had once been a pantry. Now forests grew inside jars. Oceans rolled in glass bottles. A loaf of bread the size of a horse slept beneath a cloth. Tomas forgot the cleaning cycle. Impossible, he whispered, approaching a jar containing a thunderstorm. Bottled sky yeast. Do not taste the weather. You don't understand what I could make with this. A fatality report. The horse-sized loaf woke. It opened 2 crusty eyes. Fresh meat, it growled. Tomas drew the apocalypse cleaver. That is overbaked. The bread charged. Its crust stopped Lyra's spear. Its yeasty roar knocked Cassian into a shelf. Tiny rolls poured from beneath it and attacked their ankles. Yoshi kicked one away. Dinner roll level 2. Disposition, stale, violent. I have been attacked by bread before, Thomas said, slicing through a roll. Usually it was less organized. The giant loaf swallowed Nib. There was a pause. The loaf's eyes widened. Nib ate its way out from inside. Oi, food room has food room. The loaf collapsed. Tomas knelt beside it and pressed one hand to the crust. Wait, it isn't evil, it is frightened. It called us fresh meat. So do cooks. He used ingredient assessment. Sentient siege sourdough starter age, 6,200 years. Primary purpose, feed one army indefinitely. Corruption, hunger enchantment due to missed feeding schedule. Last fed 3,900 years ago, Tomas took ordinary flour from his bag, mixed it with water, and offered the paste to the loaf. It sniffed. Then it ate from his palm. The violent roll settled. You carry flour during an invasion? Yoshi asked. You carry a stapler. Point accepted. Tomas marked the ancient starter with his new siege chef ability. Gold light spread across the loaf. Companion possibility detected. Tomas Reed may bond with sentient siege sourdough. Suggested name, Crumbs Nib hissed. No sibling. It would be your cousin, Thomas said. New family relationship requested. Yoshi dismissed it before the system could make the situation legally worse. The sourdough revealed a service tunnel behind its nest. It led directly towards central administration. Before leaving, Tomas tore off a small piece of living bread. The loaf permitted it. Siege ration created restores stamina, minor wounds, and optimism. Side effect, may whisper encouragement from inside stomach. Cassian refused a piece. His stomach growled. The bread in Tomas's hand whispered, "You deserve nourishment." Cassian took it and cried while chewing. Nobody mentioned it. The service tunnel narrowed until they moved single file. Pipes carried liquid light overhead. Through gaps in the wall, Yoshi saw shapes walking between shelves. Escaped objects. A suit of armor filled with bees. A book reading a human. A tiny moon chained to a cart. An ordinary-looking coffee mug. Yoshi stopped. The mug bore the slogan, "Failure is just success wearing work boots," his old company's slogan. The exact mug that had struck his forehead before he died. Imported ceramic object. World of origin. Earth arrival. 2 minutes before Yoshi Ishido. Classification. Forbidden effect. Converts worker motivation into structural instability. Recorded deaths, 1. The mug rotated toward him. Teamwork, it whispered. Yoshi fired the stapler. Ka-chunk. The mug shattered. Charges remaining 2. What was that? Lyra asked. Closure. His claimant ticket warmed inside his coat. One thing genuinely lost. He had thought he might use it to recover his old life. Instead, he understood that the warehouse had already touched Earth. His reincarnation had not been random. The ceramic avalanche had been caused by a forbidden object escaping into his world. Someone had arranged his death. Someone had needed an inventory clerk. Yoshi looked towards central administration. Master Clerk Avara was waiting there. He no longer intended to ask politely. The service tunnel ended at a freight lift suspended over darkness. Its platform was large enough for a wagon. Its control panel offered 2 buttons. Central administration, certain death. The second button glowed from frequent use. That seems backward, Tomas said. Employees know what they prefer, Yoshi replied. He pressed central administration. The lift descended. We are going down? Cassian asked. The warehouse was built inside a sleeping god, Lyra said. Direction is probably ceremonial. The platform passed shelves holding bottled winners, unfinished prophecies, and several spare suns covered with tarps. Far below, a heartbeat shook the chains. Nib pressed against Yoshi's leg. Big hungry. The thing below us? Bigger than hungry. That is not comforting. Nib, comfort. The mimic bit his ankle affectionately. Halfway down, the lift stopped. A polite bell rang. Inspection checkpoint. Please declare all souls, curses, weapons, emotional burdens, and outside food. Failure to declare may result in confiscation of skin. 4 mirrored figures stepped onto the platform. Each copied one member of the group. Mirror Yoshi wore the quartermaster's coat. Mirror Lyra carried a white sword. Mirror Tomas smiled behind a cleaver. Mirror Cassian stood straighter than the original. There was no mirror Nib. Instead, the reflection mimicked the entire warehouse. Shelves and doors folded inside a small black cube hovering above the platform. That one is mine, Nib said. No eating extra-dimensional reflections. Rules many. Mirror Yoshi opened its inventory network. For the first time, Yoshi felt someone inventory him. Yoshi Ishido registered. Contents, 1 borrowed body, 1 disputed soul, 1 quartermaster coat, 1 mimic attachment. Guilt, 14 units. Fear, 31 units. Unearned confidence, 2 units. Hidden contents. Claim ticket, 1 reason for reincarnation. Suppress future betrayal pending. I object to the confidence count, Yoshi said. Mirror Yoshi smiled. Discrepancy detected. It reached toward him. Yoshi's coat vanished and appeared on the reflection. His storage inventory went with it. The coward's heart, stapler, claim ticket, medical supplies. Everything. Mirror Lyra seized the real Lyra's spear. Mirror Tomaha took the cleaver. Mirror Cassian took the noble's face. The real Cassian staggered backward, faceless. I admit, Tomas said, that one is an improvement. Mirror Cassian drew a golden saber. The reflections attacked. Without her weapons, Lyra fought with gauntlets and fury. Tomas threw kitchen knives from his sleeves. Cassian hid behind both of them, which proved his personality had survived the loss of his face. Yoshi faced himself. The reflection used mark asset. Golden tags appeared across Yoshi's body. Borrowed eyes, borrowed blood, borrowed life. Nothing truly owned. You are an unregistered copy, Mirror Yoshi said. So are you. I possess the coat. The system recognizes me. It used emergency requisition. Yoshi's remaining health began draining into the reflection. Health 71, health 60, health 49. Nib launched at the black cube. The warehouse reflection opened tiny doors and released tiny audit knights. They swarmed over the mimic. Papa! Yoshi did not have his skills, but he still had his class. Inventory was not the coat, it was not the signet. It was knowing what existed and where it belonged. He studied his reflection. It had copied his equipment and abilities. It had also copied his debt, outstanding weapon fine, 12 copper post-mortal fee, 1 soul credit ceramic disposal fee, increased due to recent mug destruction. Emergency requisition charge, unpaid. The reflection had accepted ownership of everything. Yoshi smiled. Congratulations. Mirror Yoshi hesitated. You have been promoted. Explain. You are now responsible for my interdepartmental dispute. Beyond death, 6 stamp-wielding hands noticed a new account holder. Collection notice. Unpaid post-mortal processing fee detected. Debtor location confirmed. Penalty. Immediate repossession of unauthorized soul credit collateral. A white office door appeared behind Mirror Yoshi. The 6-armed skeleton stepped through it. It still wore its green visor. It looked at Yoshi, then at the reflection, then at the burning warehouse. You, it said, have created an extraordinary amount of paperwork. I've had a difficult week. The skeleton seized Mirror Yoshi with all 6 hands. This copy has accepted my account. So recorded. Will collection harm it? Immensely. Proceed. Mirror Yoshi screamed as the office door dragged it from the world. The stolen coat flew back to Yoshi. His inventory restored itself. The remaining reflections flickered. Lyra caught her returning spear and destroyed her copy. Tomas reclaimed his cleaver and split his reflection from shoulder to hip. Cassian tackled the reflection wearing his face. They rolled across the platform, striking each other with identical expressions of aristocratic outrage. Which one is Cassian? Tomas asked. The cowardly one, Yoshi said. Both tried to hide behind Lyra. Unhelpful. Nib swallowed the floating cube. Every remaining reflection collapsed. Cassian's face returned inside out. He screamed. Yoshi used reconcile to rotate it. I want it known, Cassian said, touching his restored features, that I contributed substantially. You were mistaken for yourself, Lyra replied. A common problem, Tomas said. The lift resumed descending. Experience gained. 1,100 level up. Yoshi Ishido, level 12, battlefield quartermaster. New skill available, department transfer temporarily redefine which organizational system an item, creature, or effect belongs to. Warning, reality dislikes reorganizations. Yoshi read the new skill twice. The customer's contract belonged to the warehouse. The forbidden objects belonged to the kingdom. The warehouse belonged to the sleeping god. If those departments could be changed, so could ownership. The lift stopped before a pair of open doors. Central administration. Cleaning cycle, 12 minutes remaining. Master Clerk Avara stood beyond them. She held a mug identical to the one Yoshi had destroyed. Closure is rarely that easy, she said. Yoshi drew the stapler. Charges remaining, 2. Good, he replied. I wasn't finished. The warehouse map offered 3 exits. Customer service had been sealed after the staff began demanding sacrifices. The nearest viable route ran through unclaimed curses to central administration. They chose the curses. The aisle contained rings, mirrors, dolls, coins, and one beautiful chair. Ring of responsible power. Side effect. You become responsible for everything. Mirror of true beauty. Side effect. Reflection becomes beautiful and leaves you. Chair of perfect lower back support. Side effect. None. Yoshi stopped. The system had promised him a chair. Tomas grabbed his arm. No. It says no side effects. That makes it the most suspicious object here. Lyra dragged Yoshi onward. The chair whispered, lumbar support. Cruel, he said. The lights went out. Dozens of dolls appeared on the path, each with Yoshi's face and black button eyes. Unclaimed curse seeks owner, they said together. Transfer requests flooded his vision. Lyra cut down one doll, black thread wrapped around her wrist. Curse assigned, Lyra Vale must speak only uncomfortable truths. I arrested my brother and still miss him, Lyra blurted. She covered her mouth. The dolls closed around them. Yoshi followed their ownership threads to one crowned doll hiding above. Tomas threw silver cooking powder. The crowned doll sneezed. Nib transformed into a helmet and dropped over it. Contained. The other dolls collapsed. Lyra's curse broke. Tomas smiled at her. You all right? I find your optimism attractive and infuriating. She closed her eyes. The curse is fading slowly. I assumed, Yoshi said. 3 audit knights guarded central administration. They wore armor made of chained legisters and carried swords shaped like dripping quills. The first examined Lyra, unreturned royal weapon. The second examined Tomas, unauthorized apocalypse-class cooking tool. The third read Yoshi's record, its porcelain mask cracked. No, it said. No, Yoshi asked. Too many violations. Return during normal judgment hours. The knights turned away. Achievement unlocked. We will call you back. Records are too catastrophic for automated processing. The knights stopped. Achievement constitutes admission. They attacked. Lyra blocked 2 quill swords. Tomas met the third with his cleaver. Yoshi fired the stapler. Ka-chunk. One knight's feet became stapled together. It fell like a wardrobe. Nib jumped on its chest. Audit this! Yoshi blamed Tomas for that phrase. A quill pierced Lyra's shoulder. Red ink wrote guilty across her armor. Tomas roared and swung. Green fire shaped like a screaming chef tore through the night, but the cleaver began draining years from his face. Yoshi used rapid distribution. The weapon vanished from Tomas and appeared in his own hand. Cold hunger entered his bones. Emergency requisition. Pay the lifespan charge with my post-mortal processing fee. Somewhere beyond death, a stamp struck a desk. Payment rejected. Interdepartmental dispute initiated. Estimated resolution time? 600 years. Lifespan payment suspended pending review. The cleaver became very quiet. Aggressive administration, Tomas breathed. Our only strategy. Lyra stabbed the final knight through its mask. The constructs collapsed into pages. Yoshi reached level 11. Tomas evolved from cook into siege chef. New skill, weaponized catering. I always wanted my own kitchen, Tomas said. We are not calling a battlefield a kitchen. Then stop bringing me ingredients. The doors of central administration stood open. Someone was waiting inside. Master Clerk Avara sat behind a desk surrounded by floating ledgers. She looked young, despite having vanished 4,000 years earlier. Silver hair framed a calm face. 9,000 keys covered her gray uniform. Yoshi Ishido, she said. You took longer than expected. Did you forge my signature? No. Did you sell the warehouse? Yes. Did future me sign the agreement? Also yes. I dislike tomorrow. Tomorrow dislikes you more. The master ledger lay open before her. Its pages looked blank, but Yoshi saw names buried beneath the erased surface. The forbidden objects had not vanished today. They had been smuggled into Kest for centuries, hidden inside weapons, bloodlines, buildings, laws, and people. The customer isn't buying the objects, Yoshi said. It is buying the kingdom because the kingdom already contains them. Avara smiled. Very good. Lyra lowered her spear. Why arrange this? Something sleeps beneath the warehouse. The gods built this place inside its body. Every forbidden object was a fragment shaved from its dreams. The customer will remove those fragments before they wake it. And kill everyone in Kest, Yoshi said. A kingdom dies. The world lives. You sold millions of people. I chose a number I could count. That is not mercy. No, it is inventory. Nib's maturity timer dropped below 1 minute. Its little body began to expand. Gold doors appeared in its wooden sides. Nib evolution pending contract. Mimic kingdom editor. Sovereign container. Papa, Nib whispered. Scared. Yoshi placed both hands on its lid. Good. Fear means you understand this is a terrible idea. Fix? Working on it. The cleaning cycle began. White fire poured from the ceiling. Floating ledgers ignited. Avara remained behind her desk as flames surrounded her. Yoshi marked her. Master Clerk Avara. Classification. Human registered status. Office fixture. Discrepancy detected. You listed yourself as furniture. It was the only way to survive. Yoshi activated Reconcile. 4,000 years of records resisted. Emergency requisition. Charge the correction to my achievement chair. Achievement reward identified. Chair of perfect lower back support and exchange value. Surprisingly high payment accepted. Somewhere in the cursile, the perfect chair vanished. Yoshi felt the loss personally. Avara's label changed to human. He pulled her beneath Lyra's shield. You sacrifice lumbar support for me? Do not make this emotional. The customer opened a door in the ceiling. Hundreds of golden arms descended. Authorized agent has reached maturity. The customer sees Nib. Yoshi studied the agreement burning across the mimic's body. It ordered all registered contents of the warehouse. The master ledger registered 0. He finally saw the discrepancy. Reconcile delivery agreement against current ledger. Conflict detected. Contract orders. All registered contents. Master ledger records. 0 objects. Valid quantity due. 0 customer already collected. Contract mimic. 1 overpayment detected. Resolved discrepancy? Yoshi smiled. Yes. Chain of custody blazed. Or return overpayment to authorized custodian. Nib flew back into Yoshi's arms. The customer recoiled. Contract remains valid. For 0 items. Kingdom listed as fixture. Fixtures were the price, not the order. No merchandise, no sale. The system opened another window. Customer refund required. Refund amount. Kingdom of Kest. Refund method. Original form of payment. Failure to refund will result in fees. The customer screamed with the sound of 10,000 cash registers opening. Golden threads tore free from every road, castle, farm, and living soul in Kest. The customer had already taken ownership. Now it had to give it back. The warehouse began collapsing. A doorway opened behind Avara's desk. Lyra and Tomas ran through. Avara followed. Yoshi ran with Nib as golden hands clawed at his coat. The stapler fired its final charge by itself, ka-chunk. It pinned the customer's suit to the master ledger. I knew you were dangerous, Yoshi told it. The stapler vanished into his pocket, satisfied. Yoshi woke beneath Blackwake Fortress. The warehouse door stood sealed behind him. Lyra lay nearby. Tomas coughed green smoke. Avara stared at the ceiling as if seeing it for the first time in 4,000 years. Nib had returned to lunchbox size. Nib level 7. Contract mimic disposition. Hungry, traumatized. Loyalty 61%. New ability fine print can consume 1 minor contractual condition per day. Warning, may develop interest in law. No child of mine is becoming a lawyer, Yoshi said. A royal alarm sounded above them. Lyra sat up. That signal means the queen is in danger. The warehouse door produced a receipt. Customer refund processed, Kingdom of Kest returned. Exceptions. Forbidden objects transferred to third parties, 8,770. Forbidden object retained as restocking fee. 1. On the back was a map of Kest covered by thousands of red lights. One burned in the royal capital, one burned beneath Blackwake, one burned inside Lyra. Yoshi's class identified her white armor. Royal Warden armor. Registered contents. Lyra Veil, 1. Unregistered contents, Divine Execution Parasite, 1. Status, hatching, the armor locked around Lyra's body. White metal flowed across her mouth, her sword turned toward Yoshi. Sentence suspended, a voice announced through her armor. The blade rose. Execution resumed. End of Chapter 2. The Last Inventory Clerk. Chapter 3, Terms of Execution. Lyra's sword crossed the space between them before Yoshi could blink. Nib moved first. The mimic transformed into a shield and caught the blade between its teeth. Steel screamed against wood. Nib's new golden hinges tore loose. The impact launched it across the chamber and into the sealed warehouse door. "Papa, I'm alive." Nib asking self. Comforting. Lyra advanced. White metal had sealed her mouth and covered one eye. Her remaining eye stared at Yoshi with furious awareness. She was still inside the armor, still fighting it. That somehow made the situation worse. Royal Warden armor, level 29. Classification, Divine Execution, Parasite. Registered contents, Lyra Veil, 1. Royal Authority, 3 fragments. Unregistered contents, Condemned Souls, 46. Execution orders, 118. Egg, 1. Status, hatching. Yoshi stared at the final entry. There is an egg inside your armor. Lyra's sword struck again. Yoshi ducked. The blade cut a glowing line through the black warehouse door. I will take that as unwelcome news. Tomas swung the Cook of the Apocalypse. Lyra blocked it with one armored forearm. Green fire rolled over her, but the white metal drank the flames. Sentence interference detected, the armor announced. A golden order appeared over Tomas. Crime obstructing lawful execution. Penalty, join execution. Lyra's sword split into 2 blades. That feels procedurally excessive, Tomas said. She attacked them both. Master Clerk Avara scattered the 9,000 keys hanging from her uniform. They formed a spinning wall between Lyra and the others. The first sword strike shattered 60 keys. The second shattered 200. I cannot hold her, Avara said. Yoshi opened Department Transfer. The skill showed him a web of classifications. Lyra belonged to personnel. The armor belonged to royal equipment. The parasite belonged to divine property. The execution order belonged to criminal administration. Those labels gave the armor permission to act. He needed to place it somewhere. Execution had no authority. Department transfer, Yoshi said. Move Lyra's execution order from criminal administration to... He searched the fortress network. The kitchen ledger was open. Catering. Reality paused. Transfer requested. Target, Royal Execution Order, New Department, Fortress, Catering. Warning, reality dislikes reorganizations. Transfer accepted for 30 seconds. The golden order above Thomas changed. Meal request, customer, divine execution, parasite, requested dish. Yoshi Ishido, deceased, dietary restrictions. No mercy. Thomas lowered his cleaver. It placed a catering order. Rejected. The siege chef smiled. Kitchen closed. Order rejected. Reason, customer is hostile, rude, and did not tip. Lyra's swords vanished. The armor froze, unable to execute a meal request. Now, Yoshi shouted. Avara's keys wrapped around Lyra's arms and legs. Thomas caught her from behind. Nib transformed into a padlock and clamped over the armor's chest. Yoshi pressed one hand to the white metal. The shell was warm. Something tapped beneath it. Once. Twice. The egg was pecking its way out. Time until hatching. 21 seconds. Lyra's visible eye found Yoshi. Kill me, she forced through the metal. No. If it hatches. I heard you. Still no. That armor contains royal authority, Avara said. When the parasite emerges, it will be able to execute anyone the crown considers guilty. How many people is that? Thomas asked. Yoshi checked the fortress legal ledger. Every soldier had violated an order during the siege. Every civilian had entered restricted areas. Tomas carried stolen spices. Nib had eaten military property, legal documents, part of a noble, and one concept of personal boundaries. Everyone, Yoshi said. The armor cracked. White light shone through Lyra's chest. Yoshi opened his coat inventory. The coward's heart pulsed inside 12 locked partitions. It transferred danger. The parasite was danger. He removed the black glass heart. Red threads exploded outward, searching for subordinates to sacrifice. Cassian backed against the wall. Do not activate that. Your family has been using it for generations. That does not mean we understood it. It means you didn't care. Yoshi placed the heart against the crack in Lyra's armor. Mark asset, divine execution parasite. The unborn creature became outlined in gold. Department transfer. Move parasite from divine property to personal danger. The system resisted. Divine authority contests transfer. Required payment, 200 mana. Available mana, 61. Alternative payment, 1 valid execution target. The armor lifted Lyra's head. Valid target identified. It said through her. Yoshi's name appeared in red. He smiled. Accepted. Tomas stared at him. Accepted? It wants a valid execution target. That is you. Temporarily, Yoshi assigned the execution target to the coward's heart. Then he reconciled the heart's danger. Owner of danger, House Vault. Nearest eligible, House Vault representative. Lord Cassian Vault, return danger to owner. Cassian understood one heartbeat too late. Wait! Yoshi selected yes. The execution order leaped from Yoshi to the black heart, through its ownership chain, and onto Cassian. The parasite followed. White light tore out of Lyra's armor and entered the noble's chest. Cassian screamed. The armor collapsed from Lyra in dead metal plates. Tomas caught her before she struck the floor. Cassian clawed at his breastplate. A white shape moved beneath his skin, racing toward his heart. You said correction is not execution, he gasped. It isn't. Yoshi marked Cassian as personnel and used rapid distribution. The noble vanished from the parasite's path and reappeared 10 feet away. The creature emerged from his chest without blood, a half-formed white bird made from blades and parchment. Nib opened wide. No, Yoshi said. Nib closed halfway. Small bite? Contain it. Nib transformed into an iron cage around the parasite. The white bird struck the bars, screaming legal charges in 7 divine languages. Discrepancy resolved. Execution parasite separated from assigned host. Experience gained. 1-400 Yoshi reached level 13. Lyra's armor became ordinary royal steel. Cassian lay on the floor, alive and deeply offended. You used me as bait. You survived. That does not make it acceptable. Interesting, Tomas said. Now you understand. Cassian's anger died. He looked at the coward's heart in Yoshi's hand, at the red threads leading toward the people who had paid for House Vault's survival. For once, he had no reply. Captain Harl arrived with 30 soldiers and an angry sword. The weapon tore free from his hand, crossed the chamber, and rubbed its hilt against Yoshi's coat. I continue to dislike how it expresses affection, Yoshi said. Harl surveyed the scene. Lyra lay unconscious in Tomas's arms. Cassian was bleeding from an injury that technically had not happened. Nib had become a cage containing a divine bird that kept shouting death sentences. Avara was 4,000 years overdue for everything. I was gone for 10 minutes, Harl said. We found an egg. I regret asking. The royal alarm sounded again. 3 low notes, 1 high, then silence. Lyra's eyes opened. The queen. She tried to stand and nearly fell. Harl caught her. The royal army has sealed the fortress. General Vare says the alarm came through your armor. Yoshi looked at the dead plates. Royal Warden Network. Active suits, 18. Compromised suits, 18. Execution parasites hatched. 6 current targets, Queen Sara royal heirs. Warehouse custodians, Yoshi Ishido. 6 parasites are already loose, he said. Lyra went pale. The wardens guard the palace. Then the palace guards are trying to execute the palace. Efficient, Avara murmured. Everyone looked at her. Not good, she clarified. Merely efficient. The map on the customer's receipt changed. Red lights moved across Kest. Several converged on the capital, 500 miles away. Harl pointed at the fortress gate network. The army has one translocation arch. It can reach the capital if the destination seal remains active. How many people? Lyra asked. 12. Cassian laughed weakly. Why are important scrolls and gates always built for 12? Committee standards, Avara said. There were 13 members. What happened to the 13th? Tomas asked. He objected. Nobody asked again. They climbed from this warehouse chamber into a fortress, preparing for another battle. Royal soldiers occupied the courtyard. Their blue and silver banners covered the repaired walls. Ballista crews aimed inward as well as out, uncertain which direction the next enemy would come from. General Vare waited beside the translocation arch. He was enormous, gray-bearded, and armored in steel thick enough to survive an argument with a siege tower. His level 42 label marked him as a royal juggernaut. His equipment inventory contained 6 axes, 3 shields, a portable battering ram, and a porcelain teacup assigned to emotional stability. Yoshi approved of the teacup. The general did not approve of Yoshi. This is the clerk? Battlefield quartermaster, Harl said. He looks like a clerk. You look like a wall, Yoshi replied. We all carry professional burdens. Vare's hand tightened around his axe. Harl stepped between them. He killed the Hollow King. Chomper killed the Hollow King. He woke Chomper. Tomas seasoned Chomper, Yoshi said. Credit should be accurate. Tomas raised one hand. Vare looked at the siege chef. He looked at Nib's cage form. The execution parasite shouted, General Vare, guilty of unauthorized teacup possession. Vare slowly covered the cup at his belt. What is that? A legal bird, Yoshi said. Kill it. It is evidence. Of what? That the gods should not write laws. Lyra approached the arch. We need 12 people. Yoshi, Tomas, Avara, Cassian, Harl, the general, myself, and 5 royal guards. Nib counts, Yoshi said. Nib is luggage. The mimic's cage bars tightened indignantly. Nib family. The translocation arch lit. Passenger manifest. Capacity 12. Registered passengers 13. Excess passenger will be divided equally among destinations. Everyone stepped away from the arch. Which person is excess? Vare asked. The system highlighted Cassian. Cassian looked wounded. Why me? Passenger classification. Mostly decorative. The system has moments of clarity, Yoshi said. Lyra removed one guard from the group. The young woman saluted and tried not to appear relieved. They entered the arch. Vare placed a stone destination seal into its center. Nothing happened. The seal's label flickered. Destination, Royal Capital of Valacrown. Recorded destination, Royal Capital of Valacrown. Physical destination, unregistered battlefield discrepancy detected. Yoshi caught Vare's arm before he activated it. The gate has been redirected. Can you correct it? Yes. How long? The fortress walls shook. White birds descended through the clouds. Hundreds of them. Not parasites. Copies made from royal execution orders. They struck soldiers, unfolded into blades, and began announcing sentences. Longer than we have, Yoshi said. The execution flock turned Blackwake's courtyard into a courtroom. Every bird chose a target and declared a crime. Sergeant Orr, sleeping while assigned to watch. That was 9 years ago. Orr shouted, the bird became an axe. Private men, theft of 3 onions. They were soft. The bird became a spear. Thomas Reed, unlicensed use of paprika in a military zone. Tomas raised the cook of the apocalypse. It was smoked paprika. Penalty increased. Green fire met white steel. General Vare charged into the flock, swinging 2 axes. Harl's growling sword bit one bird in half and chased another across the courtyard. Yoshi stood inside the arch, one hand on the destination seal. He could fix the gate or help the soldiers, not both. Nib rattled beside him. Papa, let bird out. The captured parasite hammered against the mimic's bars. It will try to kill us. Bird knows birds. Yoshi looked at the flock. Their target assignments flowed from a hierarchy. Each copy answered to a primary parasite, the one inside Nib. Fine print, Yoshi said. Can you eat part of its execution rules? Nib's tongue slid between the bars and touched the white bird. Which part? Yoshi read the divine authority. Every execution required guilt. Every guilt required a recorded law. Every law belonged to a legal jurisdiction. Eat the definition of royal jurisdiction. Nib chewed thoughtfully. The parasite screamed. Minor contractual condition consumed. Rochal jurisdiction, now defined as interior of Nib. Across the courtyard, the flock stopped. All the birds turned toward the mimic. Oh, Nib said. They attacked. Hundreds of execution birds flew into Nib's open mouth. The mimic expanded with every impact. Cage became chest. Chest became wagon. Wagon became a black and gold vault that filled half the arch. Nib swallowed the final bird and burped a single white feather. Spicy law. Level up. Nib reached level 10. Evolution path unlocked. Courthouse mimic Yoshi dismissed the choice before Nib saw it. I felt that, Nib said. No, you didn't. The courtyard fell silent. Then Nib's enormous lid began to shake. Too many birds. Golden cracks spread across its sides. Containment capacity exceeded. Time until divine detonation, 90 seconds. General Vare pointed both axes at Yoshi. Fix your luggage. Family, Nib growled. Fix your family. Yoshi opened department transfer. The execution flock belonged to Nib's internal legal department. The fortress had one department built to process hostile, unwanted matter. Chomper waited beneath the courtyard, damaged but awake. Yoshi grinned. Nib, I am transferring your internal legal department. Nib want lawyer. Nobody wants lawyers this badly. He assigned the swallowed flock to municipal refuse processing. The ground opened beneath Nib. Chomper's mechanical arms reached up and gently patted the mimic. Then they pulled every white bird through Nib's storage space and into the furnace. Blue-white flame erupted from the courtyard vents. Chomper processed divine law into shining metal plates. Items created acquittal shield, 24 appeal blade, 40 reasonable doubt helm. Contempt hammer, a warning. Contempt hammer may insult judge. Rapid distribution sent the new equipment into soldiers' hands. Morale increased from recently traumatized to litigiously hopeful. General Vare lifted the contempt hammer. It whispered something about his mother. I like it, he said. The arch's destination seal pulsed beneath Yoshi's palm. He activated Reconcile. The false battlefield peeled away from the route. Valacrown appeared beyond a curtain of blue light. The capital was burning. Palace towers leaned over streets filled with white birds. A creature made from royal armor climbed the central spire. In the square below, thousands of civilians knelt beneath floating execution orders. The queen stood alone on the palace steps. She wore no crown. She held it in both hands as it tried to bite her. Destination corrected, Yoshi said. The arch opened. General Vare entered first. Lyra followed. Tomas, Avara, Harl, Cassian, Nib, and the 4 royal guards crossed behind them. Yoshi stepped through last. The arch closed. Blackwake vanished. Valacrown smelled of roses and burning law books. The translocation arch stood in the royal plaza. Statues of former queens surrounded it, each holding a different weapon. White execution orders had pinned civilians to the cobblestones by their shadows. Royal wardens fought palace guards on the stairs. Their armor had hatched. Bladed wings spread from their backs. White masks covered their faces. Every strike pronounced a sentence. Queen Sarah stood at the top of the stairs in a torn red uniform. She was perhaps 40, with dark skin, close-cropped silver hair, and a bleeding bite wound on one hand. The crown in her grip twisted like a living animal. Yoshi's class identified it. Crown of Kest. Classification, forbidden object. True name, the first mistake, register it. Owner, Kingdom of Kest. Actual owner, none contents. Royal authority, 70% dead monarchs. 18, sleeping god fragment. Outstanding commands, 41,103. Primary discrepancy, crown owns kingdom that supposedly owns crown. Queen Sarah saw Lyra. Commander! A possessed warden dropped from the sky between them. Its execution blade fell toward the queen. Cassian moved. He shoved Sarah aside. The blade entered his chest. For a moment, everyone stopped. Cassian stared down at the weapon. The warden announced, Lord Cassian Vault, guilty of cowardice resulting in 109 deaths. Blood ran from Cassian's mouth. He gripped the blade. 109. Yoshi checked the coward's heart. The number was correct. Cassian looked at the queen he had saved, then at Tomas. Correction, he whispered, is not execution. He dragged himself farther onto the blade, caught the warden by the throat, and held it in place. Clerk, he said, correct this. Yoshi marked the warden. Lyra threw the spear of last dawn. It passed through Cassian's shadow and struck the parasite inside the armor. Sunrise erupted across the palace steps. The warden exploded. Cassian fell. Tomas reached him first. He pressed a siege ration into the wound. The living bread whispered, you deserve nourishment, while blood soaked through it. I do not, Cassian said. Food does not care, Tomas replied. Yoshi knelt and used the coward's heart. 6 fatal dangers remained stored inside it. He could transfer Cassian's current wound away. The heart offered every nearby subordinate. Yoshi rejected them. He reassigned the wound to house vault property and then selected the only house vault asset with no living status, the black heart itself. Returned danger to container. The wound vanished from Cassian's chest. A sword cut appeared through the glass heart. It cracked. 6 generations of stolen danger escaped at once. Red lightning rose over the plaza and traveled toward House Vault's manor. Cassian's face went white. My father. Across the capital, something screamed, not in pain, in fury. The largest palace tower split from top to bottom. A man stepped through the stone. He wore black gold armor formed from hundreds of family crests. Red danger threads connected him to every soldier, servant, and debtor in the city. Duke Malrek Vault, level 47, Burden Lord, Forbidden Objects Bound, 19. Current personal danger. A current danger transferred to capital population. Catastrophic. He looked down at Cassian. Useless boy, he said. Cassian tried to stand. Malrek closed one fist. Every red thread tightened. Thousands of civilians screamed. You broke the heart, the Duke said. Do you know what our family paid to keep danger obedient? Cassian looked at the people pinned beneath execution orders. Nothing, he said. Everyone else paid. Malrek smiled. At last you understand nobility. Queen Sarah stepped forward with the biting crown trapped beneath one boot. Duke Vault, release my city. Your city? Malrek pulled one red thread. The crown leaped from beneath Sarah's foot and flew into his hand. Everything in Kest belongs to the person strong enough to survive owning it. He placed the crown on his head. The 18 dead monarchs inside began screaming. Malrek's level vanished. His class changed. Unregistered sovereign inventory, access denied. Danger ownership denied. Correction authority denied. That, Yoshi said, is becoming an irritating word. Malrek raised one hand. Every execution order in Valacrown turned toward Yoshi. You are the clerk who returned the kingdom, the new sovereign said. You're welcome. Return it again. To whom? Me. The crown opened a mouth across Malrek's forehead. Or everyone connected to me dies first. Red threads spread from his armor to the entire capital. Personnel, 81,000 hostages, 81,040, valid targets for rapid distribution, 81,440. Yoshi understood the threat. Malrek had turned the population into assigned equipment. Any attack against him would be distributed among them. General Vare lifted the contempt hammer. Give me an order. Do not hit him. I dislike that order. That is why I gave it first. Yoshi studied the web. Every thread was an ownership claim. Every claim required a department. The city belonged to civic administration. The hostages had been assigned to House Vault. Malrek stood inside the royal jurisdiction, and Nib contained an internal legal department full of processed divine authority. Yoshi smiled. Malrek's crown mouth stopped laughing. Why are you smiling? Because your hostile takeover has terrible paperwork. Malrek attacked without moving. He reassigned gravity. The plaza rose. Cobblestones, statues, soldiers, and civilians flew toward the sky as if the world had dropped them. Yoshi's stomach remained behind for half a second before following with a formal complaint. Nib transformed around him and The mimic became a wooden carriage with teeth, catching Yoshi, Tomas, Lyra, Avara, Cassian, and Queen Sara inside. General Vare caught the outside with one hand. Harl's angry sword bit into a wheel and held on. Nib save family! The carriage began falling upward. Direction remains a concern, Yoshi said. Lyra drove her spear through Nib's roof and into the side of a floating statue. The carriage swung beneath it. Below them, or above them, depending on which authority currently controlled reality, Malrek walked across the air. Red threads supported every step. Each thread cut deeper into a citizen. Department transfer, Yoshi said. Move the Val Crown population from House Vault assets to authority denied. The Crown owned the kingdom. Malrek wore the crown. His claim outranked Yoshi's temporary authority. Queen Sara wiped blood from her bitten hand. Use me. For what? The crown recognizes royal blood. Yoshi examined her. Queen Sara Kest, level 38 Oath Monarch, Royal's authority 30%, forbidden object contamination, none. Hidden classifications, access denied. The last line bothered him. Why is your true classification hidden? Because monarchs are protected from appraisal. Avara shook her head. Protection labels do not look like that. Sarah's expression hardened. Save my people first. Investigate me later. Fair. Yoshi marked the queen as temporary custodian of the city. Rapid distribution. Nothing happened. Then Sarah held out her hand. I accept. The skill activated. 30% of Valacrown's red threads turned gold and connected to her. The nearest citizens dropped safely back toward the plaza as gravity remembered its responsibilities. Malrek frowned. You cannot distribute a kingdom. You did. I am a sovereign. You are a noble wearing stolen office equipment. Malrek clenched his fist. The remaining red threads pulled. One citizen after another rose between him and Sarah. Children, palace servants, wounded guards, living shields suspended in the air. Cassian looked at his father. Release them. Malrek smiled. Come here, son. One red thread connected directly to Cassian's heart. His body jerked from Nib's carriage. Lyra caught his wrist. Thomas caught Lyra. Yoshi grabbed Thomas's belt. Nib screamed because everyone was pulling on its left door. You belong to House Vault, Malrek said. Cassian's fingers slipped. I resign. Blood does not resign. Yoshi saw the ownership trail. Cassian's birth record, family oath, inheritance rights. The coward's heart. Hundreds of obligations recorded before Cassian could speak. Chain of custody led back to Malrek. But another thread existed. Cassian had voluntarily entered Yoshi's party when they crossed the arch. The system listed him under quartermaster personnel. Department transfer. Cassian Vault from House Vault to Black Wake Logistics. I accept, Cassian shouted. The family thread snapped. Cassian fell into the carriage, striking Yoshi and Thomas. New unit member. Cassian Vault role, logistics assistant. Qualifications. None detected. Morale effect. Complicated. Logistics assistant? Cassian asked. Congratulations on your first honest job. Malrek's smile vanished. He extended one hand. The red threads wove themselves into a spear large enough to pierce the palace. General Vare climbed onto Nib's roof. May I hit him now? Hit the spear. Close enough. He swung the contempt hammer. The weapon insulted Malrek's ancestry so thoroughly that 3 nearby portraits caught fire. Hammer met spear. The impact restored gravity by force. Everyone fell. Nib became a parachute. It was not a good parachute. It had holes for teeth. They struck the plaza in a rolling wooden heap. Yoshi emerged beneath General Vare and reconsidered every professional decision that had brought him there. Health, 62 of 99. Status, flattened by management. Appropriate, he muttered. Malrek landed before the palace steps. Vare charged him. Every blow against the Duke struck a hostage. A baker's arm broke. A guard's shoulder burst. A child screamed as a bruise spread across her chest. Stop! Yoshi shouted. Vare froze mid-swing. Malrek punched him through a statue. You see the arithmetic, the Duke said. One life protected by thousands. That is rulership. Queen Sara drew a dagger. No, that is cowardice with architecture. Malrek sent a blade toward her. Lyra intercepted. Their weapons collided, white against red. She could not strike Malrek, so she struck every thread that reached for the queen. Tomas ran among the pinned civilians, distributing siege bread. Each ration restored enough strength for a person to resist the thread controlling them. Eat, he shouted. The bread believes in you. This is not how I expected revolution to sound, Yoshi said. The living bread whispered encouragement from thousands of stomachs. Citizens began standing. Malrek tightened the web. Yoshi used Mark Asset on the entire plaza. The information nearly blinded him. People, weapons, buildings, wounds, debts, ownership, fear. He filtered for unregistered contents. Every citizen carried something Housevault had failed to record. A name, a choice, a private memory, small things that ownership could not see. Malrek owned their legal obligations, but not their consent. Yoshi opened supplied force. Everyone in Vowel Crown, he said, using the city's emergency address network. The man wearing your crown has listed you as equipment. His voice entered every red thread. If you accept that assignment, remain still. If you reject it, say your name. Malrek laughs. Names do not alter ownership. An old woman beneath an execution order lifted her head. Mira Sol, she said, her red thread turned gray. A palace guard followed. Davon Or, then a child. Elsie, names spread across the plaza. Thousands. Each became a discrepancy between Malrek's claimed property and a person declaring themselves. The system opened a citywide prompt. Assignment disputed Housevault claims ownership of registered population. Population claims ownership of self. Supporting evidence. Housevault, Crown Authority. Population, being people. Preliminary judgment favors population. Malrek roared. The red web shattered. 80,000 threads flew loose. Yoshi caught them with rapid distribution and assigned them to Queen Sara, not as people, but as connections to her civic network. Do you accept custodianship without ownership? He asked. Sarah understood. I accept responsibility. I reject possession. The threads turned gold. The city came home to itself. Major discrepancy resolved. Population removed from hostile inventory. Experience awarded. 24,000. Shared across contributing citizens. Yoshi reached level 16. Tomas reached level 9. Lyra reached level 36. Cassian reached level 2 logistics assistant. New skill. Carry box. Cassian stared at the notification. My first skill is carry box? Yoshi pointed to the wounded civilians. Use it. Cassian began carrying people from the plaza. Malrek stood alone. For the first time in his life, he owned his danger. It arrived all at once. Wounds opened across his armor. Poison blackened his veins. Old burns returned. Broken bones shifted beneath his skin. The cumulative cost of Housevault's survival crushed him to one knee. The crown kept him alive. 18 dead monarchs screamed through its teeth and poured royal vitality into him. Malrek rose again, taller. His body expanded around the crown's sleeping fragment. Black gold armor covered the palace steps. Family crests became faces across his chest. Unregistered sovereign, secondary designation, king of burdens. Level estimate, 55. I gave this kingdom everything, he said. Cassian set down a wounded child. You gave it us. Malrek moved. Lyra's shield shattered. General Vaer's hammer broke. Harl's growling sword bit the sovereign's ankle and lost 3 teeth. Malrek seized Yoshi by the throat. The world lifted. A clerk, the Duke said. All this damage from a clerk. Yoshi's health began dropping as black gold fingers closed. Health, 51. Health, 39. Health, 27. Inventory is power, Malrek said. That is why men like me own it. Yoshi tried to speak. Malrek loosened his grip enough to hear. Inventory, Yoshi gasped, is work. He pressed the unremarkable office stapler against Malrek's wrist. Ka-chunk. The sovereign's hand became stapled to his crown. Malrek roared and threw Yoshi across the plaza. Yoshi struck the palace stairs. Health, 8 of 119. Severe internal damage, suggested treatment. Do not do that again. Nib landed over him in shield form. Malrek tore the staple free and advanced. "Papa hurt," Nib growled. Its lid opened. Every execution bird inside emerged wearing tiny black barrister wigs. Yoshi stared. "You selected courthouse mimic." Nib felt choice. The divine birds formed a semicircle. Court now in session, jurisdiction. Interior of Nib defendant. Duke Malrek. Vault charge. Being terrible. Malrek laughed. "I am not inside the mimic." Nib expanded. Its mouth swallowed the plaza. For one impossible second, the entire battlefield existed inside a wooden courtroom. Benches grew from cobblestones. A witness stand snapped around Queen Sarah. Yoshi found himself behind a clerk's desk. Malrek stood at the defendant's table. Nib appeared as the judge, still shaped like a chest, but wearing an enormous white wig. Nib judge. "This is an abuse of power," Yoshi said. "Learn from gods." The execution birds served as jury. They immediately shouted, "Guilty." "You have not heard evidence," Malrek said. "Bird efficient." Yoshi pulled himself upright. The courtroom was a contract space. Ownership and law mattered more than physical strength here. Malrek realized it too. He placed both hands on the crown. "By royal authority, I dismiss this court." Queen Sarah spoke from the witness stand. Authority disputed. The crown split its power between them. 70% to Malrek, 30% to Sarah. Yoshi opened the city ledger. The crown's ownership was circular. It owned the kingdom because the kingdom recognized it. The kingdom recognized it because the crown said it was owned. Bad paperwork, his specialty. "Department transfer," he said. "Move the crown of Kest from royal equipment to court evidence." The crown vanished from Malrek's head. It appeared in an evidence bag on Yoshi's desk. Malrek shrank. All the danger he had transferred returned. He collapsed behind the defendant's table. Queen Sarah stared at the bag. "Can you do that?" For 30 seconds. The bag began biting his desk. 28 now. Avara stepped beside him. "The fragment inside will return to its strongest compatible host." Malrek. "No, it has tasted him. It knows he is weak." The crown's teeth turned toward Queen Sarah. Her hidden classification flickered again. Yoshi activated Mark Asset. Access denied. He used the claim ticket from the Department of Misplaced Persons. Redeem one thing genuinely lost. Yoshi selected Queen Sarah's original record. The ticket burned. A page appeared in his hand. Infant Sarah found beneath palace 40 years ago. Biological classification construct. Material, crown fragment, human blood, royal oath. Purpose, replacement vessel. Registered as princess by order of King Aldrin Kest. Memory sealed. Sarah read over his shoulder. All color left her face. "I am not human." Yoshi folded the page. "You are a person. The records are very clear on how often those differ. I was built for that crown. You have spent 40 years choosing what to be. That outranks a manufacturing note." The crown burst from the evidence bag. It flew towards Sarah. Lyra stepped in its path. Sarah shoved her aside and caught the crown herself, its teeth buried into both hands. "Yoshi," she said through the pain, "assign it." "To whom?" "Me. It was designed to take you." "Then correct the design." Yoshi marked Sarah. Construct, queen, person, custodian, vessel. The system wanted one classification. He gave it another. Department transfer. Move Sarah from royal vessel to warehouse custodian. The crown pulled. Sarah held on. "I accept custodianship," she said. "I reject ownership." Gold light crossed her arms. The crown stopped, biting. Its 18 dead monarchs fell silent. The sleeping god fragment inside became inventory rather than master. Sarah placed the crown on her head, not as property, not as vessel, as custodian. The courtroom shattered. They returned to the ruined plaza. Malrek lay beneath the palace steps. Mortal again. Old wounds covered him, but he breathed. Cassian stood over his father. "Kill me," Malrek whispered. Cassian looked at Yoshi. "Correction is not execution," he said. He lifted his father and carried him toward the royal guards. Class progression. Cassian Vault has used carry box on a family burden. Skill evolved. Carry your own weight. Yoshi dismissed the notification before Cassian could see him smiling. Queen Sara faced the city, gold threads extended from her crown, but none attached without permission. Citizens stood one by one. Some bowed, many did not. Sara looked relieved by both. The royal alarm ended. System event complete. Hostile sovereign removed. Divine execution network contained. Capital ownership returned to population. Experience awarded. Yoshi Ishido reached level 18. Class evolution available. Battlefield quartermaster may evolve into royal logistician, keeper of dangerous things, sovereign auditor. Papa, suggested by companion. That last one is not a class. Nib bounced beside him. Best class. Yoshi selected keeper of dangerous things. Class evolved, keeper of dangerous things. Rarity, epic combat. Rating, dangerous mostly to established systems. New skill, safe storage. Create one secured inventory cell per class level. New skill, recall hazard. Summon a contained object for limited use. New passive, nothing is useless. When an object's intended purpose fails, discover one unintended use. New responsibility, everything terrible that follows you home. The class understands me, Yoshi said. That is concerning, Tomas replied. The city did not wait for them to celebrate. Without Malrek's danger network, every delayed accident in Valcrown resumed at once. Roof tiles fell, carriage wheels broke, old wounds reopened. A bakery oven exploded after postponing the event for 11 years. 3 nobles slipped on the same staircase in descending order of inheritance. System notice, deferred consequences are being restored to original owners. Estimated incidents, 18,441. Public safety recommendation, duck. Everyone ducked. A bronze statue flew through the throne room window. The system occasionally gives useful advice, Yoshi admitted. Queen Sara ordered the palace opened as an emergency hospital. General Vayer deployed soldiers through the districts. Lyra coordinated rescue teams while refusing to sit despite having fought inside murderous armor for most of the morning. Yoshi activated his new kingdom inventory. Requests flooded him. North District required healers. The Western Cistern had cracked. 200 people were trapped beneath a collapsed guild hall. The royal kitchens possessed 8,000 meals, but no carts. The stable possessed carts, but had classified them as ceremonial flower platforms to avoid taxes. Reconcile, Yoshi said. 72 ceremonial flower platforms became food wagons. Somewhere a tax collector screamed. Rapid distribution could not move supplies across an entire capital. His range ended at the plaza, but department transfer could change which system managed them. Yoshi transferred the royal kitchens into emergency logistics, the city healers into military transport, and every noble carriage into public rescue. The nobles objected. Queen Sara looked at the casualty reports. Objections denied. Golden assignment routes spread across the city. Tomas climbed onto Chomper's newly produced contempt hammer and used it as a platform. All cooks, bakers, brewers, butchers, and people who know which end of a spoon is dangerous report to me. Hundreds answered. Siege Chef Network created. Current objective, feed a traumatized capital available ingredients. Flour, 11 tons vegetables, 6 tons meat, 4 tons sentient sourdough. Starter, 1 public anxiety, excessive. Tomas rubbed his hands together. I can work with this. Do not season with the final ingredient, Yoshi said. No promises. Nib became a wagon and carried medical supplies. It returned 20 minutes later wearing 6 blankets, a child's paper crown, and a sign that said, Good Box. Did you eat anyone? Yoshi asked. No. Nib's lid twitched. Define anyone. People. No people. Progress. Yoshi searched its inventory. Missing items, 1 wooden crutch, 1 physician's shoe, 1 door labeled surgery. Return the door. Door rude. Nib. The mimic spat out a full-size door. It landed upright in the plaza. A surgeon opened it from the other side, stared at the palace, and slowly closed it again. Companion loyalty decreased. Reason. Papa supports rude architecture. Loyalty 60%. We will survive the emotional distance, Yoshi said. At the collapsed guild hall, General Vayer could not lift the central beam without bringing down the remaining structure. Yoshi marked the rubble. The building ledger listed 300 intact support columns. Physical inventory listed 2. The missing columns had been sold by a guildmaster and disguised with illusion magic. Reality has been supporting this building based on fraudulent paperwork, Yoshi said. Vayer looked at the cracked structure. Can you make the records true? The medical reserves in Chapter 1 suggest reconcile can move reality toward the ledger when evidence and authority allow it. What is a chapter? Head injury. Ignore me. Yoshi pressed the royal seal to the foundation. Reconcile missing supports. The guild's stolen gold vanished from a hidden vault. Stone columns materialized beneath the building, purchased by correcting the original fraud. The roof steadied. Rescue crews pulled 213 people free. Level up, Yoshi Ishido reached level 19. New safe storage cell created. Stored hazard capacity increased. Achievement unlocked. Load-bearing paperwork. Reward. Structural integrity of forms increased by 10%. That sounds useless, Keshin said. Yoshi handed him a stack of casualty reports. The papers became rigid enough to support a broken table. Nothing is useless, Yoshi said. Cashin looked at his carry box skill. Was that directed at me? If applicable. They worked until the delayed consequences slowed. Some could not be corrected. 37 people died from injuries that Housevault had postponed onto others and then reclaimed. Yoshi recorded every name. Queen Sarah joined him for the final one. A victory should not need a casualty ledger, she said. Every victory needs an accurate one. That is a grim belief. It keeps the dead from becoming rounding errors. Sarah took the pen and wrote the last name herself. The city bells rang at sunset. By sunset, the palace steps had become a hospital, kitchen, courtroom, and temporary storage yard. Tomas organized food with the help of his sentient siege sourdough. Nib attempted to appoint itself assistant queen. Lyra had her ordinary armor removed by palace smiths and looked uncomfortable without it. Avara sat beneath a tree, staring at birds that were not trying to execute anyone. Harl's sword chased pigeons. General Vayer drank tea from his porcelain cup while holding the broken contempt hammer like a treasured child. Cassian worked beside common soldiers carrying the wounded. Nobody trusted him. They let him help anyway. Yoshi stood inside the throne room with Queen Sarah. The crown rested within his first safe storage cell. Sarah had surrendered it voluntarily until they understood it. You know my true record, she said. Yes. If the court learns I am a construct, they will challenge my rule. Will they be wrong? Sarah looked toward the open doors and the wounded people outside. Some challenges will be sincere. Most will be ambitious. That did not answer me. She smiled faintly. No, they will not be wrong to ask. Yoshi respected the answer. She handed him a black royal seal. I am appointing you keeper of the forbidden inventory. I have held my current class for approximately 3 minutes. Then you are not yet bored. What does the appointment involve? Find 8,770 missing objects before they destroy Kest. Anything else? Determine who arranged your death on Earth, why tomorrow's version of you signed away the kingdom, and what is waking beneath Black Wake. Compensation? You will not be executed. That was already suspended. Government benefits are frequently repackaged. Yoshi took the seal. An inventory network opened across the kingdom. Thousands of forbidden objects burned red. One rested inside the royal treasury. One moved beneath the eastern sea. One had become mayor of a small town. 7 were registered as geese. Yoshi refused to investigate those first. Another light appeared much closer. Inside the throne room. Inside the wall behind Queen Sarah. It moved. Yoshi raised one hand. Do not turn around. Sarah went still. Wait, the stone wall blinked. Its blocks unfolded into rows of teeth. Nib entered through the doorway at that exact moment. The little mimic saw the enormous wall mimic. The wall mimic saw Nib. Both opened their lids. Mama? Nib whispered. The palace wall leaned toward them. Its voice shook the throne room. My baby. Nib looked at Yoshi. Yoshi looked at the queen. The queen looked at the exit. The wall mimic smiled. Forbidden Object 2. The first mimic level, 63. Stored shapes, palace, mountain, city, moon. Current disposition, maternal current. Target, Yoshi Ishido. Reason, custody dispute. Nib moved in front of Yoshi. Papa mine. The palace doors slammed shut. End of Chapter 3. Chapter 4, the custody clause. The palace wall wanted custody of Yoshi's son. Yoshi had experienced difficult conversations before. He had once explained to a regional manager that the company could not sell 12,000 lawn chairs because it owned 4. He had informed a customer that dropping a television from a balcony did not qualify as a factory defect. He had told a 6-armed skeleton that death by coffee mug was not a meaningful career assessment. None of those conversations had involved a level 63 wall with teeth. The first mimic leaned into the throne room. Its stone blocks flexed like lips. Windows blinked along its face. The palace towers outside bent inward, resembling the horns of an animal large enough to consider architecture a snack. "My baby," it said. Nib planted 6 wooden legs between Yoshi and the wall. "Papa mine." The first mimic's windows narrowed. "You smell like receipts." "Nib eat law." "I can tell." Queen Sarah reached slowly toward the sword at her hip. Yoshi caught her wrist. "The palace is currently its face." "I had noticed." "Then do not stab the load-bearing monster." The throne room doors opened behind them. Lyra entered with Tomas, Avara, General Vare, Captain Harl, Cassian, and 12 royal guards. They saw the wall. The wall smiled. 6 guards fled. System notice. Royal Guard morale has changed from recovering to architectural panic. General Vare lifted his repaired contempt hammer. "Can I hit this one?" "No," Yoshi said. "You consistently remove joy from my profession." The first mimic's gaze moved to the hammer. One brick tongue licked across hundreds of teeth. "Forbidden metal," it murmured. "Old flavor." Vare lowered the weapon. "It can have less joy." Yoshi activated Mark Asset. The first mimic forbidden object 2, level 63. Current shape, Palace of Valcrown. Stored shapes, Mountain City Moon, incomplete original shape. Access denied by maternal authority. Contained objects, 2,114. Contained people, 6,801. Current disposition. Maternal, territorial, overdue for feeding. Current claim, NABE, supporting documentation. Biological resemblance. Primary discrepancy. First mimic has never produced offspring. Yoshi read the final line twice. "Nib is not your baby." The palace shook. Every chandelier opened an eye. "He is mimic. You have never produced offspring." Rude clerk reads private records. Rude wall makes custody claim without paperwork. Avara cleared her throat. Technically, ancient sovereign mimics reproduce by dividing stored identities. The first mimic may consider every mimic an extension of itself. "That is not how parenthood works," Yoshi said. Nib leaned toward him. "How parenthood work?" Yoshi paused. Every adult in the room looked at him. "Poorly," Cassian offered. "You are not helping." The first mimic opened on the floor. A mouth appeared beneath Yoshi's boots. Nib transformed into a rope and wrapped around his waist. Lyra grabbed one end. Tomas grabbed Lyra. General Vare planted the contempt hammer between the floor's teeth. The throne room swallowed everyone else. Yoshi fell through the palace. Rooms rushed past him in darkness. Bedrooms, kitchens, armories, ballrooms. Each appeared inside the mimic's body, connected by red wooden flesh instead of corridors. People lived in those rooms. Thousands of palace servants, guards, officials, and visiting nobles continued their day without realizing the architecture around them was alive. A maid dusted a portrait while the room carrying her slid sideways into darkness. 2 ministers argued over taxes inside a chamber shaped like a stomach. One tax minister had already begun dissolving. Yoshi marked him and used rapid distribution. The man vanished from the stomach and appeared in a laundry room. "Your taxes are still too high," the minister shouted as Yoshi fell past. "Gratitude remains rare," Yoshi observed. Nib tightened around him. They landed on a carpeted floor. Lyra, Thomas, Avara, Vare, Harl, Jarl, Cassian, and Sarah crashed nearby. The remaining guards landed somewhere else, judging by the distant screaming. They stood in a perfect copy of Yoshi's old warehouse. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Steel shelves held cardboard boxes. Yellow lines marked concrete aisles. A red sign read, "Safety is everyone's responsibility, especially after an accident." Yoshi went cold. Shelf B7 stood at the far end. 300 pounds of motivational mugs waited above it. This is Earth, Tomas said. A copy. The first mimic's voice came from the ceiling speakers. A memory eaten from baby. Nib transformed back into a chest. Nib no eat papa memory. You ate his shoe, the first mimic said. It remembered the place it abandoned him. Yoshi stared at Nib. The mimic looked embarrassed. Shoe tasted coward. The warehouse lights turned red. Customer service event. Custody dispute initiated. Claimant 1. The first mimic. Claimant 2. Yoshi Ishido. Disputed asset. Nene Nib. Judge. The first mimic. Objection, Yoshi said. Objection denied. I had not given a reason. Reason pre-denied. This system has learned parenting from government. A desk rose from the concrete. Behind it sat a wooden figure wearing a judge's wig. It had the first mimic's window eyes. Present qualification to possess baby. I do not possess Nib. Chain of custody says otherwise. The golden line between Yoshi and Nib became visible. Yoshi had used it to recover the mimic from the customer. He had treated the bond as protection. The first mimic displayed it as ownership. That hurt because it was not entirely wrong. Nib, Yoshi said, do you want the bond removed? The mimic stared at the gold line. Bond keep papa. It also lets me summon you and stop other people from taking you. Good. It may mean the system considers you my property. Nib's lid lowered. Nib not property. No, you are not. Yoshi took off the quartermaster's coat. Chain of custody glowed across its silver stitching. He placed it on the judge's desk. Reconcile companion classification. The system opened Nib's record. Current classification. Companion asset. Requested classification. Independent party. Family affiliated. Effect. Chain of custody. Protections removed. Effect. Loyalty system removed. Effect. Nib may leave freely. Proceed. Yoshi selected yes. The golden line broke. His coat lost one of its rare abilities. Nib's loyalty percentage vanished. Companion status ended. New relationship. Voluntary family system. Evaluation administratively inconvenient. Nib sat still. Papa cannot summon Nib. No. Papa cannot make Nib stay. No. Nib can leave? Yoshi swallowed. Yes. Nib walked across the floor. It stopped beside the first mimic's judge. The wall figure smiled. Nib turned around. Then it ran back and struck Yoshi's legs hard enough to bruise them. Nib stay. Yoshi put one hand on its lid. All right. Papa sad? No, Tomas sniffed. He is crying. I will transfer you into a furnace. There he is. The judge split its desk. Clerk has corrupted baby with independence. That sentence explains why you should never have custody. The first mimic screamed. The warehouse shelves came alive. Motivational mugs flew like ceramic arrows. Lyra raised the widow's waist shield. Mugs shattered against it. Failure is just success. Wearing work boots exploded across her shoulder. Ask me about synergy broke against General Veyer's forehead. He read the slogan on the fragment. I hate this world. Briefly mine, Yoshi said. Shelf B7 charged them on metal legs. Yoshi stared at the shelving that had killed him. Shelf B7 classification. Memory construct. Load capacity, 800 pounds. Recorded load at collapse, 612 pounds. Structural condition. Functional cause of original collapse. External interference. Unregistered hostile. Attached. 1. There, a small black creature clung beneath the top shelf. It resembled a spider made from price tags and human fingers. Forbidden object, 8,770. The final discount effect. Reduces structural integrity, value, and employee life expectancy to improve profit margin. Owner. The customer status. Memory copy retains functional authority. Yoshi's death had been arranged, not by Avara, by the customer. The discount creature pointed one paper finger at him. Cost reduction incomplete. Shelf B7 collapsed again. Yoshi rolled beneath the falling mugs. He opened safe storage. 20 inventory cells appeared in his awareness. One held the biting crown of Kest. One held the coward's heart. The others waited. Recall hazard, he said. The coward's heart appeared in his hand. Yoshi marked the falling danger and assigned it to the heart. Mugs vanished before hitting the group and materialized inside the black glass. The heart cracked under 300 pounds of aggressive branding. Nothing is useless, Yoshi said. The final discount leaped. Nib intercepted it. The mimic snapped at the spider, but it scurried across Nib's lid. Price tag spread over the wood. Nib's label changed. Common damage box values. Recommended action. Disposal. The warehouse machines turned toward Nib. Compactors descended from the ceiling. Yoshi used mark asset. Access denied. Target has no registered value. The discount had removed Naib from the inventory by making it worthless. Nib is not worthless, Yoshi said. The system ignored him. Nib is legally independent, family unaffiliated, capable of containing sovereign contracts, and currently owed 3 apologies. No response. The compactor closed around the mimic. The first mimic watched. It could stop this. It did not. It wanted Yoshi to fail. You call yourself its mother, Yoshi said, and you are letting it be destroyed to prove I cannot protect it. The wall eyes flickered. Baby returns when shell breaks. You do not know that. Mimic always survives. Nib is afraid. Inside the compactor, Nib whispered, Papa. The first mimic hesitated. Yoshi saw the discrepancy. Its claim was not motherhood. It was fear of being the last of its kind. He marked the first mimic's stored inventory and searched. Thousands of eaten objects, thousands of captured people, mountains, cities, a piece of moon. One small item hid beneath them all. Empty cradle, age 9,000 years. Purpose, await a child that never came current contents. Grief. The first mimic felt him find it. The warehouse shook. Do not touch. Then help Nib. The compactor tightened. Wood cracked. Nib screamed. The first mimic opened the floor beneath the machine and swallowed it whole. The compactor disappeared. Nib dropped into Yoshi's arms, damaged but alive. The final discount remained attached. Keeper of dangerous things, Yoshi said. Safe storage. He could not mark the spider, but the first mimic could. Assign it to me. Clerk steals all. I am asking. Why? Because it killed me once and I dislike repeated discrepancies. The first mimic marked the spider. Yoshi opened a storage cell. The final discount vanished from Nib's lid and appeared behind the 20 layers of secured inventory. Hazard contained forbidden object 8,770 secured. Experience gained 8,000 Nib's true label returned. It opened its lid and bit Yoshi's sleeve. Nib valuable? Immeasurably. How many copper? That is the opposite of what I meant. Thomas knelt beside them with a healing ration. The living bread whispered, you are more than your market value. Nib ate it. Bread's smart. The memory warehouse dissolved. They stood inside a moonlit forest. Silver trees grew from a black lake. Stars moved beneath the water instead of above it. The first mimic appeared across the lake as a woman made from pale stone and dark wood. She wore a palace as a crown. She was still enormous, but she had chosen a shape that did not require everyone to speak with a wall. I am called Morrow, she said. Nib peered from Yoshi's arms. Mama Morrow? Yoshi felt the title strike her. The empty cradle inside Morrow filled with hope so quickly it became dangerous. Yes, she said. No, Yoshi said at the same time. Morrow's wooden eyes narrowed. Nib looked between them. 2 parent? 1 parent, Yoshi said. 2, Morrow said. This is moving too quickly. Nib want 2. Yoshi looked down. Nib's lid trembled, not fear, hope. He remembered breaking chain of custody. Nib was free to choose. That freedom did not matter if Yoshi accepted only the choices he liked. You can know her, he said carefully. That does not give her ownership of you. Morrow's forest darkened. I made all mimics. Then you are an ancestor, not automatically a mother. Words. Words matter. The customer nearly purchased a kingdom with them. Avara approached the lake. Morrow, where did Nib come from? The ancient mimic looked away. That was answer enough. You know, Yoshi said. Morrow touched the black water. The memory formed beneath its surface. 4,000 years earlier, Avara stood in the forbidden warehouse with the first mimic. The ancient creature was not a palace then. It was a small wooden cradle beside the master ledger. Avara held a black crystal filled with golden doors. A fragment of the customer, present-day Avara whispered. Her younger self placed it into the cradle. Morrow closed around it. The memory skipped. A tiny mimic emerged. Not Nib. Dozens of tiny mimics followed. Avara assigned each one to a fortress supply network across Kest. You created mimics to contain pieces of the customer, Yoshi said. Morrow nodded. Children carried doors away, hid doors, ate doors. What happened to them, Nib asked. The lake showed centuries of war. Mimics hunted as monsters. Mimics captured for dungeon treasure. Mimics killed by adventurers who never knew what they contained. Every dead mimic released a fragment of the customer into the world. All gone, Morrow said. Then Baby appeared. Nib was not Morrow's biological child. It was the last surviving member of a species she had helped create, a species built as containers. Yoshi hated how often this world confused purpose with identity. Nib left his arms and crossed the lake. It did not sink. Small wooden feet touched the stars beneath the water. Morrow knelt. Nib pressed its lid against one stone finger. Mama, maybe? Morrow made a sound like a palace settling after a storm. Yoshi pretended not to hear himself swallow. The system opened a prompt. Family structure update. Nib requests recognition of Morrow as ancestral guardian. Yoshi Ishido remains Papa. Morrow requests title. Mama suggested alternative due to insufficient trust. Very large relative. Nib selected the alternative. Morrow stared at the notification. Very large relative? Accurate, Yoshi said. Morrow's palace crown grew teeth. Temporary, Nib added. The teeth withdrew. The forest became a dining room. A table stretched between them, covered with food copied from memories. Tomas immediately began inspecting it for poison, curses, and improper seasoning. This soup contains a childhood regret, he said. Morrow looked offended. Flavor. Unbalanced flavor. She grew a second spoon and tasted it. Needs salt. Tomas smiled. We understand each other. Queen Sarah sat across from Morrow. Release the people inside the palace. People live in rooms. The rooms are inside you. Safe. Without consent. Morrow looked at Yoshi. Clerk taught everyone annoying word. It was already available. Unused. Sarah placed both hands on the table. You have hidden beneath my capital for centuries. I was capital. The queen went still. Morrow opened her inventory. Current shape, Palace of Valor Crown. Previous shape, Old Vale Crown, Citadel. Previous shape, Founding Hill. Previous shape, Mountain. The capital had been built on Morrow, then inside Morrow, then partly from Morrow. Every royal generation had expanded the palace by feeding it stone, treasure, and forbidden objects. My family knew, Sarah asked. First queens knew, later queens forgot. Crown encouraged forgetting. Sarah closed her eyes. How many of my kingdom's foundations are alive? Yoshi checked the national inventory. He stopped counting at 40. We will discuss that after dinner. The table lurched. Morrow's face turned towards something beyond the forest. Hunters. The borrowed room vanished. Yoshi returned to the throne room as the ceiling split open. 7 white shapes descended through moonlight. Geese. They wore golden collars stamped with divine seals. Their wings cut stone. Their eyes burned red. The national inventory had registered 7 forbidden objects as geese. Yoshi had refused to investigate them first. They had taken that personally. Divine repossession flock forbidden objects. 3 through 9. Collective level 58. Purpose, recover. Escaped warehouse property. Secondary purpose, be geese. Disposition, geese. The largest one landed on the throne. It hissed. General Vare lifted his hammer. Surely I can hit these. With enthusiasm, Yoshi said. The battle began. The largest goose bit the throne in half. Queen Sarah stared at the splintered seat. That throne survived 9 coups. The goose swallowed a gold armrest. 10, Yoshi said. The other 6 spread through the throne room. One seized Avara's keys. Another chased Cassian around a pillar. A third swallowed Lyra's spear and immediately began glowing with sunrise. General Vare struck it with the contempt hammer. The hammer insulted the goose. The goose became stronger. Enraged waterfowl. All attributes increased by 20%. Reason, it was already insecure. Vare looked at the hammer. We have found its unintended use. Do not use it. I meant as a mistake. The glowing goose charged. Vare dove through a tapestry. The bird followed, leaving a goose-shaped hole through 3 former kings. Harl's angry sword chased the smallest goose under the council table. The goose bit its blade. The sword growled. The goose hissed. They entered a disagreement that appeared both violent and romantic. Thomas opened his spice case. Do geese dislike pepper? Everything dislikes enough pepper, Yoshi said. The siege chef hurled red powder into the air. All 7 geese inhaled. The silence lasted 1 second. Then divine sneezes destroyed every remaining window. The blast threw Yoshi into Morrow's wall face. Stone lips caught him before he fell. Small clerk, Morrow said. Average where I come from. One goose recovered and drove its beak into her wall. The palace screamed. Cracks spread through the throne room. Servants in distant chambers cried out as floors tilted. Morrow opened a mouth beneath the goose, but the golden collar around its neck flashed. Divine repossession authority. Target, the first mimic. Claim, escaped warehouse property. Custodian, 7 unnamed gods. The goose pulled. An entire wing of the palace tore away from Morrow's body and folded into its beak. Thousands of people fell through suddenly absent rooms. Yoshi opened the palace inventory. Rapid distribution. He caught the falling people in groups. Servants appeared in courtyards. Guards appeared in gardens. 3 ambassadors landed in the royal bath. 1 ambassador had already been there and was deeply offended by the additional witnesses. Mana, 19 of 102. Yoshi could not evacuate the whole palace. Morrow, release every room. Hunters take me. Not you, the people. People make palace warm. They are not insulation. The largest goose bit another tower. Morrow hesitated. Nib climbed onto her broken wall. Very large relative. Open. The palace groaned. Doors appeared across every exterior wall. Hallways unfolded into the city. 6,000 people stumbled out as Morrow released rooms she had held for centuries. Palace occupancy updated. Contained people. 6,801 contained people. 2,104 contained people. 407. Contained people. 0. Primary discrepancy resolved. Morrow's level fell from 63 to 51. She had drawn power from everything inside her. The geese attacked together. Golden beaks tore through towers. Wings carved open courtyards. Morrow transformed, shrinking the palace around the evacuating population. Stone walls became wooden plates. Towers folded into legs. The royal palace rose from Valcrown as a mimic larger than a mountain. Its movement split streets and shook the city. Yoshi marked every foundation. Morrow, stop! Crush hunters. You will crush the capital first. Morrow looked down. 1 foot hung over the hospital plaza. Thomas stood beneath it with hundreds of wounded. I have had difficult customers, he shouted, but this is unreasonable. Morrow pulled the foot back. The geese used the hesitation. Golden chains shot from their collars and wrapped around her. Each chain carried a divine ownership seal. God of War claims left wing. Goddess of Hearths claims central chambers. God of Roads claims all doors. God of Commerce claims contents and future profits. 3 gods declined identification for tax purposes. Even the gods cannot agree who owns her, Yoshi said. Avara joined him on the broken palace steps. That disagreement is why Morrow remained free. Then we make it worse. Yoshi used department transfer on the golden chains. War property moved to Hearth inventory. Hearth property moved to road maintenance. Road property moved to taxable commerce. Commerce property moved to military seizure. The circular claims began fighting one another. Divine notifications filled the sky. Authority conflict Hearth goddess refuses road toll. War god disputes commercial tax rate. God of Commerce has filed for religious exemption. Unnamed gods request to remain unnamed. The chains loosened. Morrow tore free and swallowed 2 geese. The birds attacked from inside her. Palace windows exploded with golden light. Morrow staggered toward the hospital again. Nib expanded into courthouse mimic form. Jurisdiction! A wooden courtroom swallowed Morrow's left hand in one goose. The goose appeared behind a defendant's table wearing a tiny collar and an expression of violent contempt. Nib banged a gavel with its tongue. Charge, rude bird. The goose ate the gavel. Additional charge, eat court. Yoshi entered the contract space and marked its collar. Divine repossession authority. Valid only for escaped property. Morrow's current status remained forbidden warehouse property because Avara had never completed her release. Avara! Yoshi shouted through the courtroom wall. Do you still have authority as master clerk? The warehouse considered me furniture for 4,000 years. That was not an answer. Yes. Release Morrow. Avara pressed her palm against the ancient mimic. Object 2. The first mimic. Status amended from stored property to independent sovereign entity. The system refused. Warehouse content may not self-release. Yoshi saw the exact wording. Avara was no longer warehouse content. He had reconciled her classification in Chapter 2. He did not say Chapter 2 aloud this time. Department transfer, he said. Move Avara from former warehouse personnel to royal external auditor. Queen Sarah, standing on Morrow's shoulder, raised the black royal seal. Appointment accepted. Avara's gray uniform turned black and red. Class restored Avara level 44 external auditor of forbidden objects. She smiled. It was the first frightening thing she had done intentionally. The warehouse, she said, is about to receive 4,000 years of corrections. She amended Morrow's record. Independent. The divine collar on Nib's captured goose cracked. Repossess authority lost valid target. Nib swallowed the collar. Fine print tasty. The goose became ordinary. Still level 20, still enormous, still a goose. It attacked Nib without divine support. Yoshi opened safe storage. Contain hazard. The goose vanished into a cell. Hazard contained. Cell condition. Loud. He could hear it honking from outside dimensional space. This may have been a mistake. You now have an emergency goose, Tomas said. There is no such thing as an emergency goose. General Vare crashed through the courtroom wall while wrestling another bird. I disagree. Yoshi contained that one too. Cell condition. Louder. The remaining 5 geese saw Morrow's new classification. Their collars changed targets. Nib. The last surviving warehouse-born mimic still contained fragments of the customer. Its independence did not remove its forbidden contents. Property recovery, the flock announced. Nib's courtroom collapsed as 5 beaks struck at once. The little mimic flew across the palace ruins. Morrow caught it. The geese hit her hand, tearing through stone and wood. Morrow roared. Her mountain-shaped surface beneath the Capitol. Streets tilted, buildings slid. Yoshi saw 2 disasters competing. If Morrow fought at full strength, Valacrown would be destroyed. If she did not, the geese would take Nib. He opened recall hazard. The final discount waited in its cell. It had killed him. It could reduce structural integrity and value. Nothing as useless showed him another purpose. The geese's power came from priceless divine authority. Yoshi recalled the discount onto his stapler. The black spider wrapped around the office tool, creating a weapon so financially irresponsible that the system displayed a waiver. Temporary hazard combination. Final discount, stapler effect. Attach reduced value to target, warning, may cause economic collapse, employee termination, or coupons. Yoshi aimed at the largest goose. Ka-chunk. A black price tag appeared on his collar. Divine authority. Former value, priceless. Discounted value, 3 copper. The god behind the collar immediately abandoned it. Possession was sacred until maintenance cost more than the asset. The collar fell away. Morrow swatted the ordinary goose into a fountain. Yoshi fired again. Ka-chunk. Second collar, 2 copper. Third, free with purchase. Fourth, store credit only. The gods withdrew one by one. The final goose carried no named god. Its collar was black, made from the same doors as the customer. The discount refused to market. Owner recognized employee discount cannot be used against executive management. The customer's goose grew. Its feathers became receipts. Its beak became a golden door. Wings covered the evening sky. Collection goose level 60. Purpose, recover. Contract, mimic and terminate clerk. Benefit, eligibility, none. The bird swallowed Morrow's head. Morrow transformed desperately, but the door beak stayed locked around every shape. Mountain, palace, woman, cradle. Nib screamed, "Mama!" It launched into the goose's chest. Yoshi followed. This was not a decision he approved. It was simply the only one his body made. The golden door opened. Yoshi, Nib, and Morrow fell through him. They landed inside a shipping department at the end of time. Conveyor belts carried kingdoms through darkness. Worlds sat inside cardboard boxes. Dead gods waited on pallets wrapped in plastic. Hundreds of customers in black suits checked receipts. The collection goose closed behind them and became a loading dock door. Morrow lay on the floor in her cradle shape, cracked nearly in half. Nib pressed against her. "Mama, stay." Morrow's voice was weak. "Baby safe." Golden hands descended from the darkness. The customer appeared at the end of the conveyor. Returned merchandise received. Yoshi stood between it and the mimics. They are independent. Contents remain company property. What company? The customer's keyhole turned. The shipping department brightened. A logo appeared overhead. "Failure is just success, wearing work boots." Yoshi's old company's slogan. Below it was a name he had never seen at work. Universal Acquisitions and Disposal. Earth Division, Motivational Home Goods. Kest Division, Forbidden Storage. Postmortal Division, Soul Allocation. The warehouse that employed Yoshi on Earth, the Forbidden Warehouse beneath Kest, and the office that assigned his reincarnation all belonged to the same organization. "You employed me," Yoshi whispered. "You remained useful. You killed me." Internal transfer. The customer extended a badge. It was the one Yoshi had worn when the mugs fell. The front said Yoshi. The back contained tiny words. By accepting employment, worker consents to reassignment across locations, departments, worlds, states of matter, and conditions of mortality. That cannot be legal. "We own the legal department," Nib growled. "Nib eat department." "Not yet," Yoshi said. "Papa have plan?" "I have anger. A plan is anger with organized steps." Yoshi put on the badge. The shipping network opened to him. He was still an employee, low level, deceased, transferred without benefits, but employed. That gave him access to the internal inventory. Universal Acquisitions and Disposal. Locations, 14,221 worlds. Employees, 80 trillion. Most unaware customers. Primary inventory, everything abandoned. Executive inventory, access restricted. Current shipment, Morrow and Nib. Destination, disposal. Yoshi marked the shipment. Department transfer. Authority insufficient. He used the badge. Temporary employee access accepted. Move current shipment from disposal to employee dependence. The system paused. Nib and Morrow vanished from the conveyor. They reappeared in a small break room behind Yoshi, beneath a sign reading family leave. The customer's hand stopped. Benefits unavailable to deceased temporary workers. Then I dispute my status. You died. I am working. Death and labor frequently overlap. Your own record lists me as transferred, not terminated. The shipping department trembled. Employment discrepancy detected. Yoshi Ishido. Status, deceased work. Status, active benefits. Status, ineligible due to death. Work requirement, must be alive enough to perform duties. Contradiction confirmed. Resolve discrepancy? Yoshi selected yes. The company had two choices: stop assigning him work or recognize him as alive. The customer could not release him. Future Yoshi still had to sign the delivery agreement. The company needed him. Employee status corrected. Yoshi Ishido recognized as living full-time employee. Back pay due, 3 days, 14 hours. Hazard pay due, excessive death benefit denied because employee survived death. Dependent coverage available. Nib and Morrow's shipment changed from property to covered family. The customer screamed in the language of quarterly losses. Yoshi opened safe storage and contained the employee badge. The entire break room came with it. "Recall hazard," he said. The crown of Kest appeared in his other hand, biting and furious. Department transfer. Move this shipping dock to royal territory. Queen Sarah's custodial claim traveled through the crown. For 30 seconds, a piece of universal acquisitions became part of Kest. Yoshi used rapid distribution. He reassigned himself, Nib, and Morrow to Velcrown. The customer seized his coat. Future agreement remains. Then I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow has seen you. They vanished. Yoshi returned to Velcrown 20 feet above the fountain. Morrow landed as a palace sofa. Nib landed as a cushion. Yoshi landed in the water. The universe maintained traditions. The collection goose collapsed into loose receipts. Without the customer's shipping space inside it, it became an ordinary white goose. General Vicker approached with a contempt hammer. The goose hissed. Vayer smiled. Mine. That is how this problem started, Yoshi said from the fountain. Morrow transformed into a woman and lifted Nib. Her cracks remained, but she lived. Nib touched its lid to her forehead. Mama temporary? Morrow looked at Yoshi. Temporary, she agreed. The system opened a family agreement. Voluntary guardianship. Nib recognizes Yoshi Ishido, Papa Morrow, very large relative and probationary. Mama rights granted, care, and protection advice. Rights denied. Ownership, forced storage, unsolicited swallowing. Dispute resolution. Nib chooses Yoshi accepted. Morrow read every line 3 times. Then she'd accepted. Nib swallowed the agreement. Nib, keep safe. Fine print confirmed agreement remains active. Annoyingly valid, Yoshi said. The palace could not return to its former shape. Morrow had released too much stored mass and too many borrowed rooms. She became a smaller fortress at the center of Velcrown, still enormous by ordinary standards, but no longer containing unwilling occupants. Queen Sarah moved the royal court into tents, while citizens argued over whether their palace now qualified as a person. Morrow ate 3 tax proposals and earned immediate public support. Tomas served roast goose-shaped bread at dinner. The ordinary goose tried to attack it and became General Vayer's reluctant companion. He named it Mercy. Mercy bit everyone. The aftermath produced a new problem every 6 minutes. Morrow had spent centuries functioning as a palace. Now that she was legally independent, she wanted to know whether she had been paid. Queen Sarah searched the oldest royal ledgers. Your compensation was listed as protection, maintenance, and ceremonial occupation. Morrow's windows narrowed. People lived in me. That was ceremonial occupation. People spilled soup in me. The ledger does not address soup. People made 6,000 holes in walls. Those were called doors. People never asked. Sarah closed the ledger. Then the crown owes you. Yoshi felt every royal treasurer within a mile experienced sudden chest pain. Morrow considered the queen. Pay how? The royal treasury did not contain enough gold to compensate 9,000 years of unpaid architectural labor. It did contain 3 ceremonial estates, a forest legally classified as furniture, and exclusive mineral rights beneath the palace. The mineral rights were awkward because the minerals were Morrow's teeth. Yoshi reconciled the ownership. Morrow compensation settlement, legal ownership of current body and all naturally produced components, right to refuse occupation, right to charge reasonable rent, right to consume abandoned furniture after 30 days, back pay, pending national economic survival. Morrow accepted the first 3 immediately. Why furniture wait? People may come back for it. People abandon ugly chairs. 30 days. 7. 20. 10 and Morrow not eat tax collectors. Queen Sarah extended her hand. Agreed. Yoshi stared at her. Were tax collectors previously on the table? Morrow smiled. The answer was not comforting. The settlement created a new system classification. Independent living structure. Morrow has founded a class. Available occupations. Palace. Voluntary fortress. Selective inn. With appetite controls. Mother probationary. Morrow selected all 4. Yoshi objected to the final one. Objection recorded and ignored due to existing agreement. The system has chosen violence, he said. Nib's freedom created complications of its own. Without companion status, Yoshi could no longer see Nib's health, level, or location. He discovered this when the mimic disappeared during reconstruction. Yoshi searched the palace ruins. He searched the hospital. He searched Tomas's kitchen, where 3 barrels had teeth but none were nib. After an hour, worry became terror. Morrow felt it through the stones. Baby chooses. Baby may be injured. You freed, then hunt. Yoshi stopped. She was right. He had removed the chain that let him track Nib. Now he wanted the same control back because fear made it feel reasonable. How do parents do this? He asked. Morrow's entire eastern tower shrugged. Poorly. Cassian approached carrying a box of medical supplies. His logistics assistant uniform was plain brown. He hated it, which improved it. Nib is with the children from the Western District. Where? Cassian hesitated. It asked me not to tell you. Wait, it is preparing something. Potentially dangerous? Everything Nib prepares is potentially dangerous. Yoshi fought the urge to demand the location. Is anyone currently being eaten? Not according to the agreement I was required to sign. Then I will wait. He lasted 11 minutes. Nib returned pulling a wagon filled with repaired toys. Children followed behind it. Some rode on its lid. One had painted bright yellow flowers across Nib's sides. The mimic stopped before Yoshi. Nib, work. It opened a small compartment and produced his missing shoe. The cheap black sneaker had been cleaned. A child had stitched its torn side with gold thread. Yoshi stared. You kept it? Papa property. Nib paused. Papa thing, not property. Thank you. Nib Chew's return. That distinction mattered. Yoshi put on the shoe. It did not match his other boot and offered no armor bonus. Nothing is useless activated old work. Shoe rarity. Common defense. Negligible unintended effect. Remembers the way home once per day. The wearer may retrace a path to a place sincerely considered home. Yoshi's throat tightened. Home had once meant earth. Then it had meant nowhere. The shoe's golden road ended at Nib. Yoshi dismissed the label before anyone saw his face. Tomas saw his face. Crying again? Smoke. There is no smoke. Then you should investigate the kitchen. Tomas looked toward the royal kitchens. A green flame rose above the tents. That is unrelated. He ran anyway. Yoshi tested safe storage before nightfall. The 2 divine geese inside had eaten through one internal partition and were attempting to establish a territory. He separated them using the reasonable doubt Helm's chomper had forged. The final discount had reduced its own containment cost and was requesting release as a budget measure. The Crown of Kest had eaten 3 inventory labels. The coward's heart was slowly filling with dangers returned from house vault estates across the kingdom. Safe storage status. Secure cells, 19. Occupied cells, 5. Comm hazards, 0. Administrative complaints, 47. Yoshi created an internal complaints department and assigned it to the final discount cell. The forbidden spider became responsible for reducing its own complaints. It immediately stopped filing them. Nothing is useless awarded 100 experience. You weaponize bureaucracy against bureaucracy, Avara said. It is renewable. I spent 4,000 years studying forbidden containment. Did you try forms? I dislike you. That is not a no. Together they created consent-based storage rules. Sentient hazards received notices explaining containment, appeal rights, and release requirements. Non-sentient hazards received clear labels. Geese received thicker walls. Mara watched from every nearby window. Clerk builds small warehouse. A safer one. All warehouses become hungry. Yoshi looked at the occupied cells. She meant systems, not buildings. Systems accumulated things, then rules, then power. Eventually they began protecting themselves instead of the people they served. Then someone will have to audit me, he said. Avara smiled without humor. I accept the appointment. Auditor assigned Avara may inspect safe storage for abuse, corruption, or excessive geese. Defunding excessive, Yoshi said. 1 man. Honking shook the inventory. They agreed on 2 under emergency conditions. The first appeal came from the Crown of Kest. It submitted a written request by biting words into the wall of its cell. I am the kingdom, release me. Yoshi answered on an inventory card. The kingdom currently disputes that statement. The Crown bit a second message. I made the queen. She belongs to me. Yoshi wrote, people do not belong to manufacturing departments. The crown's teeth scraped furiously. I will speak to your manager. Yoshi handed the card to Avara. Congratulations. I am your auditor, not your manager. It does not know the difference. Avara entered the cell wearing 3 layers of warding armor. The crown immediately tried to promote her to queen, possess her, and file a complaint about Yoshi's tone. She returned 10 seconds later. Appeal denied. Reason? Excessive teeth. Queen Sarah watched through the storage window. Losing the crown had weakened her Oath Monarch class, but it had also removed the dead voices that had whispered inside her since childhood. Will I ever wear it again? She asked. Do you want to? She considered the question rather than answering as a queen. Not today. Yoshi updated the file. Release review postponed at custodian's request. The crown became quiet, not defeated, thinking. Yoshi added a second lock. Nothing is useless revealed the crown's unintended purpose. Crown of Kest. Original purpose, control royal vessels. Unintended use, allow a kingdom to speak to its ruler. Condition, kingdom must speak voluntarily. Yoshi showed Sarah. She touched the cell wall. Perhaps one day, she said, we can correct it instead of destroying it. Correction is not execution. Cassian, passing with another box, heard the words. He stood a little straighter. Inside the cell, the crown stopped biting for exactly 1 minute. Yoshi sat on the rebuilt palace steps after midnight. Nib slept beside him in pillow form. Moro's stone hand rested nearby, large enough to shelter them both from rain. Avara brought him the employee badge from Safe Storage Records. Your company connects the worlds, she said. Apparently. The customer may not be a species, an organization, or one creature using departments as organs. Yoshi looked at the slogan on the badge. Either way, I intend to resign. Your future self signed the contract tomorrow. Then tomorrow me needs supervision. The national inventory flashed. Forbidden objects 3 through 9 changed status. 6 were contained in Yoshi's safe storage or stripped of Dione mine authority. The 7th, the ordinary collection Goose, slept beside General Bayer. Its label flickered. Not ordinary, not sleeping. EGG detected contents. 1 golden door. Time until hatching. 8 hours. Yoshi stood. Mercy laid a black and gold egg in Veyer's lap. The general opened one eye. Is this bad? The egg printed a receipt. Delivery schedule recipient. Future Yoshi Ishido. Contents. 1 completed agreement. Delivery time. Tomorrow inside safe storage, the employee badge activated by itself. Clock in required shift begins in 7 hours, 59 minutes. Failure to report will result in termination. Clarification, this termination includes mortality. Yoshi looked at the egg, he looked at the badge. Nib woke and opened one eye. Papa work? Yoshi picked up the golden door egg. I am going to the office, he said. The egg began laughing. End of chapter 4.